All right, guys, today we got a real special guest in the house. This man is a legend on the underground rap scene, been doing this for 30 years. Mr. Throw Root Beers in Your Fridge. God has an iPod filled with a bunch of his music. The one and only Apathy.
Peace, 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 peace. What up?
What's good, bro?
Chilling, man. What's good with you?
Hey, man, I can't complain. I'm glad to have you here.
After all the technical difficulties and hiccups.
Yeah.
We're popping.
Well, I couldn't start the year with you because that was the original plan, you know, but at least I get to end the year with your interview, man. And I know the fans are really looking forward to this. Well, let's start at the beginning, man, so that we can give the people a better idea of who you are, where you came from, and how you got to where you are today. So you're originally from Connecticut, right? Which part?
Correct. I'm from all over the place of Eastern Connecticut. When I was a kid, my parents were teenagers when they had me. They had a wild time in the 80s, and I moved around a lot. For most of my life, I never lived in one place longer than 2 years. So Willimantic is where I was born, and where there's this little town called Willimantic in the eastern side. It's funny, Dan Rathers did a special called Heroin Town USA, which is not a badge of honor for the town, but it's interesting. And there's a lot of things that are nice about it. There's a lot of things that it's an area that's also economically destitute and fucked up. But yeah.
With you moving around like every 2 years, like obviously you couldn't really keep friends. Like what was that like for you?
It's funny, man. I was just talking to my ex-wife about this, about our kids. And I was talking about, you know, my kids have been stable. They've gone to the same schools. And I told my wife that it's weird, the ex-wife, I told her that it's really weird that, you know, as a kid, you never feel like you belong because you go to one school, you make some friends, then you move away, you have to make new friends, then you move away again. Then you come back to another school, and these people, you know, they live the whole 5 or 6 years without you being there. Then you come back to a school, and they don't really recognize you. I didn't graduate high school. So it's crazy because I had friends I grew up with, but I never felt cemented or solid with a friend group. Like I know people who've had, you know, best friends all their lives and grew up with people. I don't know what that's like. I don't know what that's like to go through school with the same set of people that you graduate with or any of that. So it's a really interesting, weird thing. And it felt like shit at the time, you know, having to reprove yourself, having to be a new kid in school and, you know, fucking fighting and dealing with people who are trying to test you or press you or, you know, figure you out. So there was a lot of stress with it as a kid.
How do you think that affected you?
I think that maybe, you know, I'm not whatever, but, you know, I had to make people like me quick. I tried to as a survival mechanism. And also I tried to read people pretty well. I think that became a superpower. You know, I got all these things that I say, all the trauma in my life gave me superpowers to kind of, you know, even it out. But, you know, I think that I made friends pretty quick. So I learned to be pretty charismatic and witty, or I guess I tried to as much as I could. But, you know, I think that's one thing that definitely changed who I am.
You know, what's dope is what you're saying is that, like, you know, you weren't able to have that, so you were able to provide that for your children at least, though.
I mean, that's a critical thing. Listen, I think that the way I am as a dad, you know, I have my kids all the time, and I'm in super dad mode. It's one of the reasons I don't tour. It's one of the reasons I don't go to a lot of events, because being a dad is more important to me. And for all the terrible things that I grew up that happened to me, I'll gladly take all those things if it means a better life for my kids, instead of me being oblivious and maybe me validating feelings that they have that I had that nobody gave a fuck about how I felt. You know, so I'll take all those. I say I'll take all those whips. I'll take all those hits, you know, figuratively, not literally. But I'll take all that shit for my kids to have a better time and be more aware of how they feel as little people.
Yeah. So on your newest album, Mom and Dad, seems like it's like one of your most personal ones yet, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And you talk about like your parents were divorced or they weren't really together. They were teenagers when they had you, right?
Right. That's right.
Yeah. And they were partying, they were having fun, you know. Obviously, on the song 1000 Grams, you said a child from the 80s era, you couldn't paint it clearer, grew up with mom snorting cocaine off a mirror.
Right.
So what was that like for you growing up within that dynamic? Like, were you split between two different homes, or how was that like?
Yeah, my parents were tumultuous from the jump. Like they were teenagers when they started messing with each other, and it was just, it was dysfunctional from the beginning. And then when I was born, it was more dysfunction and them trying to live on their own. And then, they would break up and they'd have these really bad breakups and huge fights and all this stress. I remember like waking up and, my dad was a great guy, but he had anger issues. And I remember waking up on a Saturday morning and everything's gone in the house. Like the fucking TV's gone. He took all this shit. And, then my dad would pick me up on the weekends, but they'd be beefing sometimes, and sometimes he wouldn't pick me up. I'd be sitting there waiting, looking out the window. And then the drug shit, I remember going to school and seeing their programs, and they would have these displays of, how they did drug shit. And, I'd see the little straws in the mirrors that my mom had back at home, little mirrors with residue on it and little cut up straws and shit and all of that. So I wasn't stupid, and I knew what was going on. My mom, obviously things are different now in a lot of ways, but my mom would have boyfriends, and some of these guys would be shitheads, and they would have shithead friends who would come over and just, people broke in our house. There was a lot of drug activity, seeing people, do wild shit. Talking about feeling unsafe, not eating breakfast in the morning sometimes. And this is when I think back about it, because there's a lot of times where I was upset and angry. These people were, 17 and 18, 19, 20. I'm saying this is my parents during these time periods. And it's really interesting to think about how I would have been a parent at that time, especially without as much self-awareness as we have nowadays with mental health and all these different things. But thinking about them having me, when they got robbed of their childhood and all the mistakes that they made. So it's interesting to think about, like on that Mom and Dad album, I say, I'm watching adults who convulse with no pulse. We go to school late with no coats and no notes. This is the story of how me and my friends in that area were living at that time, and being around all this shit and being brought up by selfish people who were either drug addicted or too young to have had kids, or just had the dysfunctional, displaced energy. So having all those things was really traumatic. And I'm sure there's people who had way fucking worse, or people who had similar, or people who are hearing this and it sounds crazy to them. But that was my experience that I had growing up.
So how are you processing that as a kid? I mean, are you having anyone to talk to, grandparents or anybody like that?
Hell fucking no. In the 80s, I'm 46 years old. I was born in 79. So you got to think 85, 86. That was still an old school era where kids just shut the fuck up and take life as they receive it. There's no validation. It's like, oh, well, toughen up. This is, what do you want me to do? I'm busy doing my own shit. There was no validation in mental space and all of these fucking things that we have nowadays. And so, a lot of different things happen. That's why I have severe anxiety and panic disorder, from, losing control and feeling out of control. When I feel out of control, it brings up my anxiety and panic from those times. And all of those things that happened to me in those days. And luckily, I was never, physically beaten bad or molested in any kind of way. I'm lucky. There's a lot of people who weren't that lucky. Those things didn't happen to me, but all the other shit still fucked me up. The verbal abuse, the fights, the instability, those things will take a toll. And it's really crazy. But like I said, man, I think all those things have lent to me being a much better parent. So I'll gladly take that childhood that I had, and make it better for my kids.
Most definitely, man. It definitely sounds like you grew up amongst a lot of chaos, like a chaotic environment, right? So like for you to now be a parent and you look back at those situations like, damn, when I was my kid's age, I was experiencing this. Like, does it hit you even harder when you look at it from that perspective?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My son is 7 right now. My daughter's 10. And when I think about, what I dealt with and what I was going through, and I try to, juxtapose those things onto my son, it breaks my heart, And I'm good with my mom now. My father passed away. I was really close with my father, and I'm good with my mom. But there are things that I definitely resent and things that bother me still to this day, where I'm like, knowing what I know, how I feel about being a parent, I guess I have to chalk it up to her age, but still, there's just things that I wouldn't allow my kids to experience. And it makes you feel, it's deep, man. As a person, it makes you feel like you were unloved to a certain degree, or just no one cared enough to take you into consideration. And that's a deep thought. And I think about those things in relation to my children and the experience that they go through. And then there's other fucked up things where I still work on to this day. Like, I have a short temper sometimes and I react. The difference is I apologize to my kids and work through it with them. And,
there was none of that when you was growing up. No talks, no like apologizing.
No. Yeah, let me tell you how real it is. Even with my son, I'll say, hey, listen, the way I talked to you was really wrong and I'm really sorry. And he'll say, it's okay. And I say, no, listen, you can forgive me, but it's not okay. So I even teach that language. Like, you can forgive me and I appreciate that, but it's not okay how I talk to you.
Absolutely, man. Because like that interaction that you're having, you're teaching them what to tolerate, right? Like how they believe they should be treated, and
right.
I feel like it's difficult because like you were talking about like the resentment, but at the same time, it's like, kids raising kids. So like you have that lens, but like at some point you got to feel for the inner child of yourself as well, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah. I didn't have this shit, like, and I had to go through all this stuff and it was difficult. It's just tough, bro. It's just, it's not easy.
Well, that's also why I do so much, like with this music and everything I have now. A lot of that is me. I'm a nostalgia junkie. Like to a probably a mentally unhealthy degree. You know what I mean? Like,
you probably follow all those nostalgic pages on Instagram and shit, huh?
That's the least, bro. That's the least. Yeah, I do those and those are cute, but I deep dive into shit. I collect things. I have in the other room, I have the 7-foot aircraft carrier, the G.I. Joe one with all hundreds of G.I. Joes and every tape I ever wanted when I grew up with, and all these things I didn't have. Like right behind me is you can see right there. It's a Ringdings box that from the 80s, it had a card of Don Mattingly from the Yankees right there you could cut out. And my dad got that Ringdings box, and it was a good memory that he had that, and he cut out that baseball card for me. So a couple years ago, I went on eBay and I found that bitch uncut. Like that's the box like laid out flat before they glue it into a box shape. So I purchased that and framed it. You know what I'm saying? Like the nostalgia built around me where I had the good memories. I build a fortress of fucking solitude right there. You know what I'm saying? To heal the little boy in me. And even all these things, all these hip hop memories. And every time I work with these heroes and these legends, or I accomplish something, it's for young me. It's to heal my trauma. I'll probably be chasing that till the day I die. Yeah,
man. I feel like a lot of times when people try to revisit nostalgic for nostalgic purposes, it's because there's a lot of like unresolved trauma from their childhood.
There's this Twilight Zone episode called Walking Distance, and everybody should see it. I've sampled the audio of it, and it's about this guy who he's stressed out with his job. I think he lives in New York. He's got a high stress job. He's in his 30s or 40s. And he goes back to his, he stops at this gas station, and while they're working on his car, he's like, oh, the old town I used to live in is in walking distance. But when he walks to it, he goes to the time period when he was like 6 or 7 years old. And he's trying to relive this whole thing, and it's got this deeper meaning. And eventually he pulls up on his dad, and he has this conversation with his dad, and his dad figures out that it's him from the future. And his dad is like, hey, listen, this isn't your time here. You got to go. You already had this time. So at some point when you're entrenched in this nostalgia, and I go back, because I do that all the time. I get in my car and I drive back to these little towns and these little neighborhoods I grew up with, and maybe some of the houses aren't there. They were torn down, and I say I'm chasing ghosts. You know what I mean? It's not there for me anymore. What I'm looking for isn't there. So I always thought that was a pretty profound, deep thing.
For sure, man. As a kid, you were prescribed Ritalin, right? Because you were diagnosed with ADHD or ADD.
Who the fuck knows what it was at that point, bro? Who knows?
One of them
man,
bitches, right?
Right. Who knows what they called it at that point, man? Right. It was probably, I don't even think they had the term ADHD yet.
But what was it like growing up with what you were dealing with that you had to be prescribed something like that?
It sucked because there was zero awareness of what I had, right? They just thought I was a problem kid. They thought I was a pain in the fucking ass and I couldn't sit still. And I remember I see things that my kids both have it, right? Both kids both have ADHD. And I see in them points of frustration and things that they deal with that is really hard to snap out of and really hard to deal with and stay focused. And when I was in that zone, when I was a kid, it felt like out of body experience. I remember like getting really frustrated. There was a point where my parents had just had it with me and they're yelling at me. And I was little, man. I was a fucking little kid. And I was like, I can't help it. I feel like I'm like acting this way, but I'm possessed. I didn't say possessed, but I was like out of body experience. Like I can't control what's going on with my actions or even like getting in trouble and laughing while I'm getting in trouble. And it was all ADHD. I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to be a bad kid. I didn't want to be fucked up. I didn't want to skate on all my homework, which I never fucking did homework ever. Like fucking ever. I used to fucking throw homework in fucking down alleyways and in fucking ditches and shit and be like, no, I don't have any fucking homework. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like I was the worst. And then I remember like even at some point my mom had gotten some tutor somehow. I think they helped her with a tutor. And after school, I was a latchkey kid. My mom would work. I wasn't a latchkey kid. Is for anybody who doesn't know what the fuck that is. It's
I know. I was about to ask you like to clarify that for the audience in case they don't know.
It's when you go home and you have a key and you're home alone while your parents stay at work, and you got to work to a certain point. And I was a latchkey kid, and my mom had this tutor come, and I remember like running and hiding in the woods. Like there was trees. It wasn't even woods. It was like a set of trees. And I remember hiding behind these trees, watching her. Like, and I thought it was funny because she like pulled up, knocked on the door, and I would skate all that shit though. Homework, fucking anything. I didn't want to do any of that shit. So the ADHD thing was gnarly, man. And the Ritalin at that time, I don't know why this happened, but the Ritalin made me a zombie, bro. Like I couldn't, I wasn't me. I was just like it was another form of an out of body experience. And it was just terrible, man. It was a really tough time. I had no focus. I felt like I was totally out of control. And it was the most frustrating thing ever.
It kills like your creativity for a lot of people too. And like your personality, it dulls you. It's a lot of different things like that. But when you're talking about some of the problematic behaviors, are you talking like, you know, like really being one track minded, like having having an issue, like transitioning from different activities or like being forgetful, like that type of stuff, above. Temper tantrum type of things.
Still to this day, I don't know if I ever really had temper tantrums. I would get frustrated, but I was never the type to have a fucking temper tantrum. But, and I don't think the people I was around would allot for that. Right. You know, still to this day, I'm fucking nuts. Like, I'll forget major shit. Me and my best friend, my brother Al Mayo, we just had this conversation. He's the same animal as me, man. We have the same exact ADHD. But there's times, bro, where I fucking left the house with I have like a gas stove and I left a burner on and like left the house and went and ran a couple errands and came back and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, crazy. Shit. There's times where I'll get up, go to the bathroom, wash my hands, be doing something on my phone, and I come back around like 15 minutes later and I hear the water running. I'm like, God damn. So it's nuts, man. And then there's just a matter of focusing. There's certain times where I'm hyper focused and then certain times where I can't even get my life together because I get so overwhelmed. But, you know, once again, all those things are horrible, but in the other ways, I have superpowers that other people don't have. You know, when it comes to me locking in and working on music, no one can fuck with me. My work ethic's unmatched. The way I make albums and the way how fast I write and work on these projects and stay hyper focused.
Right. So you said growing up during the Reagan administration was traumatic because there was this war on drugs, right?
Right.
You're growing up in the 80s, you're walking the streets. Like, what are you seeing as far as your environment? Like, what is shaping you?
Just people who are fucked up. Like in the area that I grew up in, I grew up on the street. One of the streets that I grew up was Hammond Court, and all the families, we all knew each other on that. And me and my best friend, Dwayne, were still best friends to this day. We were best friends since we were babies. And, you know, there was crazy shit. Like both of our families were fucked up with drug shit, alcoholism, just craziness, just lunacy. You know, the regular lower income lunacy that comes with that. And, you know, just wild shit, man. Like Dwayne had an uncle we used to be terrified of who was wild and named Dooney. Dooney was like the fucking boogeyman for us. You know what I'm saying? And he would pop up or we'd see him and we'd be shook and, you know, rightfully so. But just growing up in that environment and just not really having what we needed was really tough, man. So
seeing so much substance use around you, did that, like, from a young age kind of push you away from that kind of lifestyle?
I always wonder that because I never did shit. But what I think more of it is because of the trauma that happened to me, you know, all this shit, right? Because of all these things that formed some trauma for me, I need to be hyper in control, right? And when I feel out of control, it makes me panic. So even when I would drink and get a little bit of a buzz, I would, you know, you feel floaty when you're buzzed. That sets my brain to go, holy shit, we're out of control. Freak the fuck out. So whether it came to drinking alcohol or smoking weed, especially smoking weed, I would freak the fuck out when I felt out of control. So I think that lent a greater hand in keeping me away than me having, you know, the cognitive ability to say, oh, if I go down this route. I don't think it was as much about that. It definitely
wasn't as much about like ruining your life per se of using substances as much as like you wanted to feel in control at all times. Yeah,
it was more about control for me in the way it made me feel more so than me, you know, figuring out that, oh, if I go down this road, I'll get fucked up too. I didn't think about that. We were wilding out, bro. We were just doing the most and doing dumb shit. Then it's like interesting too because, you know, I watched both my parents be smokers, smoke cigarettes around me, and it always grossed me out. So I don't know what kept me away. I got God to thank for all these things. You know what I'm saying? God kept me on a path that at the time I didn't even know that kept me away from all this shit. So
how would you describe yourself as a kid though? Like as far as like, were you really social? Were you quiet? You into sports?
Both.
School?
I was quiet. And it, like I said, my ADHD would be like a pinball, man. It would just be all over the place, and then it would kind of subside, and I would crash out and like, you know, fall back and not be very social. But for the most part, I was pretty social and outgoing. Like I said, I had to also develop that skill to be liked at new schools. You know what I'm saying? But and so I think that was the biggest thing. And what was the other thing you asked me about?
Well, never mind about the school, because obviously you said you never did homework or anything like that,
Hell
so
no.
you weren't into school. Was it boring for you? Like, did you feel like it was just going too slow? Because a lot of times when people are so smart, they feel like public school systems are just like, you know what I mean, holding them back.
That's 1,000% what it was. I remember at one point, we met with the teachers, and it was a parent-teacher conference, and they were telling my mom like they were gonna maybe this was the first threat where they said they were gonna hold me back. And I was like, yo, we learned about the Boston Tea Party for the third year in a row. This is like every year we're learning the same stuff. We're not learning anything detailed. I just feel like you're spoon feeding us memory-driven shit, and we're not learning anything. And I used to get so bored with it, and it was just terrible. And so I would just tune out, man, and I would just fuck around and fuck off and be silly. And that was really it, and just do whatever the fuck I wanted to do. And you know, it's funny, like I said, being a father, there's things that bother me that, you know, I'm trying to figure out for my daughter's sake too. Like my daughter's very similar to me. And like we went to her school and like things I forgot about, right? We went to her school for a parent teacher thing. And I like look in her desk and all the other kids, they got desks. It's all normal. It's like books with paper. My daughter's like, she jammed 5,000 things, crumpled up shit. It's just a huge mess. And it fucked me up because I flashbacked really hardcore to that's what my shit looked like. My desk was a fucking disaster site. Just so that ADHD thing is definitely fucked. And it's something that, you know, I'm trying to work on with her and, you know, figure out. It's hard for me though, because look at me. I'm still living it and then trying to teach her and guide her through that.
Right.
So, you know, we work with her school. She's got a great school that she goes to, and we're working on that.
What about sports? Were you really into sports?
That's what you would ask. That's what it was. I was naturally good at sports, but the problem is that with my parents and with me, there was no discipline for me to stay in anything or to continue anything or to keep going. So I never stuck with anything. I never did shit. I was naturally good. Like my uncle was really incredible in basketball and he was naturally good at sports too. And, you know, whether I threw baseballs or threw footballs or, you know, played soccer or fucked around and played basketball, I was nice at everything just naturally. Like I had that raw talent, but there was
athletic.
Yeah, I was super athletic, you know, and even skateboarding and all that shit, but there was no follow through for organized sports or school. And who knows, that might have kept me in school if I would have went that route.
For sure, man. Do you remember the moment that you fell in love with hip hop?
Oh yeah. I remember the exact moment. It was, I remember it was this little town I lived in called Colchester, the same place with Hammond Court. And we had moved into this apartment, in an upstairs apartment. We lived with my grandmother and my uncle. It was me and my mom, my grandmother, and my uncle. My uncle was dope. My uncle Jeff, he's 12 years older than me. So he was like a big brother to me. Sometimes he had the energy of like Buzz from Home Alone where he was a dick to me, but I thought that was good. My uncle was like a OG. He was an asshole to me, but I think it helped a lot. I needed that, right? And like big brother type shit. And I remember being in his room and I heard Shaka Khan, I Feel For You, with Melly Mel rapping on it. Right. And I was just like, literally my face was just like this, like listening. And I'm like, oh, what is this? And I just vibed so hard and I started walking around the apartment and I wouldn't stop rapping it, but I wasn't good with memorizing the lyrics. So I would just kind of say words that sounded like it. And then I would start to do what, you know, became freestyling where I would talk about what I wanted for lunch in that same pattern. And I'll talk about toys or cartoons. And I just adopted that. But Shaka Khan, I Feel For You just was one of the first tastes that I got of hip hop. And I'm sure there was more going on, but that's when I first locked. And that was my most hardcore memory. And then later, there was a college radio show by this DJ here in Connecticut named Doc Nine, who was kind of like our Mr. Magic, and he would play records. And that's the first time I heard like Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick the Show and Run DMC and, you know, all these artists and Houdini and Kool Moe Dee and all these super fucking dope artists. And I would stay up as long as I could, and my dad would help me tape it. Because my dad was cool as fuck, man. And we had this little boombox. God, it was probably like this big now that I think about it, because it was, you know. And this little boombox, and he would tape it for me. So that way when I fell asleep and I get moved to my room, I would have it all on tape, which was really dope. And my friends used to trip out too, because we would play it outside. I remember like us taking the little boombox, plugging it into an electrical outlet outside, and we would all fucking hang out and listen to these rap shows.
And you thought they were rapping live?
Yes.
Right?
Correct. It was the show. Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick. Okay, so that's an ill thing. So my uncle, he went to this high school, and one day we went to a live concert. So, you know, when you're little, your view of the world the world's massive to you, and you only know so much of it. And So that was the only thing I had ever seen of a live performance was at my uncle's high school. So when I went back and I was listening to the radio with my dad and I heard Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick, the show, all that, it sounded live too. You know, that record sounds live. Mm-hmm. All I could think about was that was happening at my high school down the street. Those guys were playing live what I was hearing. So I thought Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, the show, was live at the local high school down the street from me.
Was that the first element of hip hop that you got into, or were you into graffiti or like breakdancing?
Breakdancing, my uncle would b-boy. My uncle had a cardboard and he would breakdance and, you know, do all that shit. And it was cool, and I would try to fuck around, but I had nobody to teach me. But it wasn't until later, like years later, when like late 80s, early 90s, in the early 90s is when we got down with Zulu Nation and we started hanging out with Zulu Nation, me and my crew. And that was like the resurgence of all the elements, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I joined Zulu Nation in New Haven, Connecticut. And that's when I really started going harder with graffiti and my writing style and then trying to DJ. And, you know, I always loved the other elements. I just had no roadmap for figuring those shits out. So, you know, it wasn't until that time, but I was in love with breakdancing in the 80s. Like, I couldn't get enough watching Breakin' 2 and watching all these different things. And, you know, VCRs were so expensive back then. Like, my father would rent one when he could. He would get like a paycheck and we would rent, you know, a video player. And they're so old. These are the VCRs that they were top loaders, where the top had this thing
yeah,
like that, and you put the tape in, you go, and you close it. And they were fucking huge. So we would rent those. Like, I remember also, in addition to renting like breakdance and shit, it was really dope how supportive my father was about hip hop shit. You know, my father was really a rock and roll guy, but he fucked with hip hop hard. He liked it. He appreciated it. And I think he fucked with it mostly because I fucked with it, you know. And but I remember us renting Thriller, the long version of Thriller, where it shows the making of, and then it's the long version of the video. But that shit was dope. So I definitely fucked with all the elements, but some of them just came later because I was playing catch up.
At what point do you decide, okay, I want to start rapping, and then I want to do this like as a real thing for my life? You know what I mean?
It was slow. It wasn't just like a switch, but it started in 1993. And I think hieroglyphics had a lot to do with that. It started out with hieroglyphics, and then shortly after, because 93, I was like pro Hyro, right? Souls of Mischief, Casual, Dell, Extra Prolific, Pep Love, all of that. Those guys, those albums, Dell's No Need for Alarm, Souls of Mischief, 93 Till Infinity, Casual, Fear Itself. That time period, Hyro was running shit for me. And I was just so enamored with them. And I wanted to make records like them. And then later, shortly after that, it was Organized Confusion with Stress the Extinction Agenda. As soon as I heard Pharaoh Monch, and I credit Monch, Monch is one of my closest friends in the industry. I love him. He's like a brother to me. He's the greatest guy. He gives me wisdom, insight, all that. I credit Monch for the inception of Apathy. Like, there wouldn't be Apathy as we know it without me studying what he did on the Extinction Agenda. Maybe I would have tried other shit, but that bar was so high, and there was just so many different things he did on that album that's what made me want to be better than everybody else. That's what drove me to be like lose my mind and have a level of perfectionism that I would always chase.
And then, you know, some of your other rap influences were Gangstar, Nas, and Rakim, right? Like the heavy ones that you were influenced by. But you actually really grew up influenced by classic rock, like you were saying with your dad. So like Queen, Led Zeppelin,
Pink
Creedence
Floyd,
Clearwater, Jimi Hendrix, The Doors, Pink Floyd, Steely Dan, Fleetwood Mac, like all that stuff. Yep. So what made you go into hip hop instead of starting a band?
It was just as soon as hip hop hit me, like that time with Shaka Khan, like I loved other music and I appreciated other music, but it wasn't everything to me. Hip hop was everything to me from the jump. It was just all encompassing. It just took over. Like it wasn't a question. It wasn't a thought. Like there was no thought process there. It's just what I was. I was like, oh, this is it right here. This is what we're doing. And I just would listen to music, and then I would study it more and see who's coming out. And it got to the point where I was obsessed. And I'm saying obsessed like most people aren't. There's a lot of hip hop fans and there's a lot of hip hop heads, but like I want to know the engineer for the Yag Fu Front album. You know what I'm saying? I want to know who the photographer was for this group called the Invices. I want to know the names of the members of the Troubleneck Brothers and where they're from. I want to know about Van Full of Pakistans and Y'all So Stupid and Trends of Culture and all these different people. So it wasn't just normal for me. It was never pedestrian, you know. I started to read between the lines of who was doing shit in the background. Like rest in peace to Michael Lucero, who did Boogie Monsters, Recognize Thresholds of Stress video, who also did Souls of Mischief 93 Till Infinity, who also did Organized Confusion Stress video, and also did Rampage, Beware of the Ramp Sack. And all those videos are out in nature, and they all look weird, and I started to notice they all look the same. And lo and behold, later, so I started to pay attention to the details, man. I became Rain Man with hip-hop shit. I'm still, yeah.
This is where like your ADHD or whatever you want to call it really came in handy, right? Because like I know a lot of people have kind of like obsessive, like, things when it comes to when you have something like that.
Right. Absolute obsession. And that's why nobody can fuck with me on this hip hop shit other than people like shout out to Dart Adams or, a very small few. People are like, yo, I really know hip hop. I'm like, all right, bro, okay, I'll let you say these things, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a fucking lunatic with it, And that's like once again, I started to recognize the photography of Danny Hastings, and shout out to Danny. I just had Danny on my podcast. The dude is a legend. It was surreal for me sitting in the same room as him. He's been my friend for a long time, but it's never lost on me. He's a fucking iconic legend.
What's dope is like what you're saying is like in certain ways, like when people have like certain conditions, like they may struggle in other avenues, but they excel in such other areas. Like your eye for detail, it really stood out. Like, you paid attention to the little things that other people might overlook. And that's how you were able to notice the pattern of like the videos shot in this way. And it happens to be the same guy doing it. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing.
Right. Even down to, it's just stupid shit. Like, and it's the gift and the curse too, because sometimes it'll drive you fucking nuts.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, especially when you don't have confirmation right away. It's easier to get that confirmation in the internet world. But when you're younger,
but back then, no way. Like you're
just like always like, I know something's up here. I can fucking tell. I can smell it. But you don't get a lot of confirmation,
So you used to read the dictionary a lot, and this is something that like helped you with freestyling, right?
Right. Yep.
What gave you that idea to start doing that? Like it was just happened by chance?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was looking up words I heard in rap already. And then I would just continue. And then it got to the point I just needed ammo for these bars. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm looking up all these different words and I'm just straight up, using words out of the dictionary. And it's funny because when I was young, there was still verses like I would use words, and it technically meant what the definition was, but it didn't sound conversational or natural. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I'm using some of these words, to do these verses, but it was just like OD complex for no reason.
You was T.I. before T.I. Expeditiously.
Oh, I don't know. Does he do that?
you know how when he talks, he uses like those really big words and people kind of make fun of it. But
oh no, I didn't know that was a thing.
Shout
man.
out to T.I.
I feel like somebody else does that. Some celebrity does that. I'm not sure.
My boy Lush one.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Lush. He was bigging you up. I was talking to him about you and that I was going to interview you, and he was like, just had nothing but positive things to say about you.
Oh, I
Poison
appreciate
Pen
it.
too.
Thank you to him, man. God bless.
Yeah, and Poison Pen too, man. He had nothing but the best things to say about you.
Listen, Pen is one of my oldest friends. I love like a brother, man. He's we've been down for so long. It feels like I've known him for 50 years and I'm only 46, you know?
Right. So in the early 90s, is that when you start rapping at school, like battling and doing ciphers?
Oh, by the way, listen, don't really worry about the time, bro. I don't want to rush shit. I don't give a fuck about that live thing, really. You can edit this if you want, or you can keep this in and show people what the real is. But let's just keep going because I like this convo. So in the 90s, you got to understand things were different. Not everybody was rapping at that time. There weren't a ton of rappers. And I just talked about this tonight with a group of people. When you were an MC who was nice in the 80s or 90s, you were like a Jedi Knight. You were special. When you walked in a party, people knew who you were and your character was established. They'd be like, oh shit, here comes blah, 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 blah. Maybe he'll spit something tonight. You know, it was special. Like if there was a party of 200 people, you might have been the only MC there, and then maybe another MC walked in, and it's like, oh, shit, I wonder if there's going to be something, or you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. Like, this guy's from here, and that guy's from there, you know? So being an MC was a lot more, even if it wasn't that dramatic. Being an MC was way the fuck more rare, and you had a little bit more honor. Like I said, it was like being a Jedi Knight. So it's not like you were just walking around and there was MCs falling all over the place like there is now. Like, everybody fucking raps now. You know, Not everybody had the ability to back then. And in the 90s, that's where I linked up with my boy Open Mike, who's like my big brother. And, you know, he had formed Demigodz before I was a kid in junior high. And Mike and them formed Demigodz in this little small town kind of close to the ocean. And they were rapping about things that not everybody was rocking about, like how Boogie Monsters were and how, you know, all these different people. But they were rapping about, they had that bohemian style, like Souls of Mischief shit and, you know, all that. But they were rapping about like fucking aliens and deep, weird
sci-fi shit.
Right, sci-fi shit, you know. It's kind of like when you hear Souls of Mischief make comic book references. You're like, oh, shit, that's dope. They were doing that. And I wasn't a part of them yet. So one of my boys hooked me up with Open Mike and got me on the phone with him, and I rapped for Open Mike, and I was like, yo, I want to be down with you guys. And he like listened to Open Mike. I told this story before. Open Mike's an asshole, and he just got on the phone. He's like, yo, what's up? And I was like, yo, I want to rap with you guys. And he's like, all right, go. And I'm like, I'm like, my heart's pounding and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got like fucking stage fright and it's on the phone.
Palms are sweaty.
Yeah, straight up, bro. I was like, I'm like breathing weird and shit. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, he goes, hold on, right? And he passes it to this other dude we were down with at the time. And he heard me rap, and he's told Mike, he's like, yeah, put him in. So I got into this group, the Demigodz, and they were advanced, bro. They had already had demos. They had 4 tracks. They were fucking making beats. They were in high school. They were screen printing jackets with their fucking logo on it because they had access to the.
Oh wow! So they were really doing it independent already.
Yo, they were like, I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. This is what I want to be doing. So it was dope, man. It was dope, and I got put down with them, and then we recorded our first demo. It was called "Feet Don't Fail Me Now," and it was a really jazzy loop. And super low bit rate, just grimy, super grimy, so dope. And it had a sample of Organized Confusion. Feet don't fail me now. Gotta make it to the studio some way, somehow. And it was the first, and I recorded a verse, right? And I'm a freshman in high school at this point, okay? And I had stayed back, so I should have been a 10th grader. So I should have been a sophomore at that point. And so I fucking record this demo, Feet Don't Fail Me Now. I got it on cassette. The next day I go in high school, and they were all older than me. The Demigodz guys were older than me. I think Mike was either a senior or had just graduated. I think maybe he was a senior. Maybe I'm wrong. And so I go back to school the next day. And I'm playing it for people in my Walkman, and the crowd's forming around me because nobody in my school had known anybody who had songs. You know what I'm saying? And people are listening. People wouldn't stop. People are coming back. Battery's dead first day, right? Then I'm back with this. And it felt so crazy to have it. You know what I'm saying? The teachers were already warning me that they were going to take the shit away because it was causing so much of a fucking disturbance. And it was really dope though. And then we recorded demos with Mike, and we did this whole thing, and we had a fucking demo tape that we did, and we got it pressed up officially. There was only 100 copies of it. I'm looking at it up in my tape rack right now, the actual one from like 97, 98. You know, but it was dope, man. It was dope at that time, the early days.
Let me ask you this though. So like, you know, you early on you were saying like, because you moved around from school to school so much, right? Like you had to try to make people like you very fast. Now with you being a rapper now, did that like help you feel better about things because people liked you because you were rapping?
Yeah, I think that all of us, not all of us, I'm sorry. I think a lot of us who are MCs and who are rappers are probably insecure people, right? Who want some attention. I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying a lot of us are probably insecure people who want to feel important, or we didn't get enough of what we needed when we were kids or when we were teenagers, and that validation is important for us. We're humans. We want love. We want to be acknowledged. We want people to think we're smart and we're dope and we're fresh and fly. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was a huge thing, that I wanted that acknowledgement.
And I feel like, you know, hip hop in general empowers you in a different kind of way, because it's like one of the genres where like before you couldn't really get on a song and say fuck you on that kind of level to somebody, or like really have that voice in that way. You know what I mean? Like it was like totally different.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's, I mean, there was no other genre, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to hear James Taylor like, you fucking suckers or shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to happen. It's just, we're the first ones who just went from turning conversational thoughts and ideas into a music form, which was cathartic too. You know, it felt good to get a lot of that out and to get some of that energy out. And also just a lot of that had to do with, you know, braggadocious, trying to feel strong and powerful. You know what I'm saying? That bravado.
So now you walk in the halls, you got a little swag to you, a little bop and everything like that. The girls paying you more attention now, App?
I guess. I mean, I'd known all these motherfuckers for so long, you know, like this is for years at this point. So remember I said, I grew up, went to elementary school with this group of kids. Then I moved away for junior high twice to 2 different schools. Then I came back to my high school, which is where all this shit happened. So I knew some of these people and they were cool. I think I had a girlfriend at the time. But I didn't really give a fuck about that. Like, it was just, I just wanted everybody to think I was dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was cool. But the ramp up didn't happen until a lot later with that shit, you know?
So we got the Demigodz timeline, but where does Alien Nation come in at this point?
Not sure. Not long after that. So when I joined, they had already been hanging out with Mike and this other dude, etc., from New York. He had already, etc., was a part of the Alien Nation shit already. These guys are from Brooklyn, from Marcy Projects. Shout out to my brother Phoenix Orion. Shout out to Supernatural. And shout out to Naptron and all the alien guys. But these guys, it was an interesting time because this dude, etc., no disrespect to him, man. We're all older. This is a lifetime ago, but this is talking about when we were teenagers. So I'm going to say negative things, but it's not going at him. It's not disrespecting him. It's just we were teenagers. We were just doing dumb shit, okay? This guy, etc., came up from New York. And like I said, man, everybody wants attention. Everybody wants to feel important. Everybody wants to feel like a leader. But Alien Nation was really big into knowledge and information, somewhere between like conspiracy theories, existentialism, biblical knowledge, and holy tabernacle scrolls, and talking about Elohim and the gods and all this shit. And etc. would come up and bring us scrolls from, you know, when we would go to New York with him and build with people on all these deep knowledge things. And at some point he started hanging around a lot of people, a lot of different groups. And, you know, I think at the time he didn't have anywhere to go or anything to do. So he would bounce around between people, which I did too. You know, there was times where I would live with friends and sleep on couches and hang out with people and have fucking stupid girls who would drive you places and buy you food and shit. You know what I'm saying? Take advantage of people when you're young and dumb, trying to figure your shit out. And I did that, and I'm sure he did that too. And he would come up and build these like little crews, like these little sub crews, and it became like a cult, right? There were people who could have access to certain levels of quote unquote knowledge he had that other people didn't. And because we were dumb fucking teenagers, we all just fell in line and believed this shit, right? And meanwhile, back in New York, the real Alien Nation dudes, they don't know shit about this, right? I have the CD somewhere. I think it's in the other room, the Alien Nation CD when they were signed to Palace Records. And these guys didn't know anything about this, man. And we're running around trying to impress these guys. And we just wanted to do music, you know what I'm saying? But it got really weird. It got really dark. It got really depressing. And it was really fucking crazy. And finally, we got out from that cloud of the Alien Nation. There was a lot of good times, too. Like, we did build with the guys in New York. But like I said, that one dude who was acting like on some cult shit, he would try to control who we could meet and who we could talk to and who we were down with. It was really fucking bugged out. But at any rate, when we got away from him, me and Open Mike joined Zulu Nation in New Haven. We linked up with TC Islam, King Kenny, and a whole bunch of people in New Haven. And we joined Zulu Nation, and it was very fucking dope. And it was a really cool time that pulled us out of a lot of that shit. And then it just, there's so many key, like after that point of getting away from Alien Nation, getting down with Zulu Nation, and me and Mike branching out, it split off into like 100 different stories. Like we started going to like New Eurekan and spots in New York and Washington Square Park with fucking, where we would have the ciphers, and we got down with Punchline and Wordsworth, AL Skills, all the Lyricist Lounge guys became our friends, Wise Guy and Gaston, Poison Pen, everybody. And met up with this dope fucking crew from Long Island called the Addams Family, which Cannibal Ox came out of the Addams Family. It was a crazy time, bro. Like, let me tell you something, man. And this is word on fucking everything. If there's any takeaway, and I want to say, even though I've had beef with certain people over the years, this is like this is the only camaraderie I'll come to with it, is that we had a great fucking time during the indie boom. Like when we started pressing up vinyl, and that it was so deep in culture and independence, in a scene of us having to do what we did. Even our bigger brothers during the hip hop time, you know, the guys, I say bigger brothers, but I mean like, you know, the Digging in the Crates and the Tribe Called Quest and all those Big L and all those guys, the legends, the dope legends. Those guys didn't have the same thing as we did. They had a doper experience in some ways because they were signed to majors, doing huge shows, big videos on TV. But we were in the fucking trenches of trying to prove ourselves because we didn't have anything. We didn't have labels. We didn't have, and that's not saying that those guys didn't grind, because goddamn they did. But we had a more of a three-dimensional experience and a culture going on. And even if there was crews who some of us didn't get along, and there was a lot of that too, or a lot of us who linked up with each other, we all had that same thing in common, that time period. And it was huge. It was a vast amount of music coming out and a vast amount of events and all of these things happening during the mid to late 90s into the 2000s.
So just a clarifying question for the Alien Nation, what was the ultimate like thing that made you finally leave?
Just the craziness with that guy. It wasn't
there
even
wasn't
because
like one event in particular that you was like, enough is enough, I'm done.
Not one event, man. It was just us waking up to realizing that we were being fucked with, and that it wasn't what it was supposed to be, and just the control and the weird shit about it. That was it, man. And like I said, I don't give a fuck. I'm not even worried about it. I'm just speaking from a point of maturity. I'm hoping that guy's not like that, and I'm assuming that guy's not like that anymore. I just don't know, because I haven't talked to that person in forever. But when we were teenagers in the 90s, it was fucked up, and I'm not gonna front about that. I'll just be dead honest about it. It was shitty. It was fucking stupid. But
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. When you joined Zulu Nation, Was there a lot of white people in Zulu Nation at that time?
No, there was some. There was a couple, but it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a majority. I didn't really think about it though. I don't think we really thought about it. We didn't get like the quote unquote white boy treatment. I never really got the white boy treatment. I never got treated like a sucker. So no, I don't think there was a lot of people in Zulu, at least when we went to events and where we were. I'm not saying there wasn't white people in Zulu at that time. I'm sure there was, you know what I'm saying, all over the place. And in the 90s, you know, probably chapters in France and London and all over. But where we were, there wasn't a lot of white people. There was, I believe that there was our brother's Wild Style crew. Shout out to my brother Carl. I think they were Zulu for sure. And there were some Zulus, but there wasn't a lot of white people.
So you left high school after your freshman year, is that right?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Okay. How did your parents react to you leaving at this time?
I think we had reached a point where they didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I got this song called Hard Times on Planet Earth. And I regret it, man. I wish I had gone through the school. I wish I had graduated. I probably wouldn't be the same. Maybe I wouldn't have had the same Apathy career. It would have been impossible. But I have this song, Hard Times on Planet Earth, where I say, please, mama, don't let me drop out of school. I'll regret it after I run away to New York and try to be a rapper. You know, I just think that they had just kind of checked out, like a lot of parents probably do. When you got a teenager who's fucking just out doing whatever the fuck I wanted to do, you know, I was spending nights out. But then the other thing, I didn't really have a good open door policy. You know, if I was out too late, they'd be like, oh, well, tough shit. Don't come in here late waking me up. You're out. You got to find somewhere to be. I remember fucking sleeping in a ball pit in fucking McDonald's. I thought maybe that would have been, it was the worst thing ever. It was not comfortable or soft by any means. You know what I'm saying? And, just really fucking stupid times. And, you know, being in New York, with open mic, being stuck out in New York, the Metro North, which goes from New York to Connecticut, would stop running after a certain point. So we would just ride the subway all night long, just like falling asleep on the fucking subway. You know what I'm saying? And this is when I'm a teenager, you know what I'm saying? So, and this is when I'm still having, you know, panic attacks and shit and just feeling out of fucking sorts. So
you feel like you regret it because of more of like you wish you had a diploma, or you wish you had the experience of like finishing?
The experience. I don't give a fuck about a diploma at this point in my life.
Right.
But the experience, being able to graduate, I get emotional when I see, you know, video footage or see people graduate and they had that shared experience with people who they grew up with. And, you know, they accomplished something and they went through and they have, and I remember I have friends, they're people who love me, people who I've known forever. And they're like, yo, come to the reunion. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't graduate. They're like, nobody cares, bro. Everybody knows you, you know? And I'm like, nah, it doesn't feel, I feel like a sucker doing that. I'm not fucking playing myself. I don't want to do that. But, you know.
Is this time period like where it ties into the whole I remember intro with your mom saying you got to go to school,
yeah,
get
absolutely,
a job, kind of start helping out type of thing?
Correct. That's it. That's absolutely it. And that was done by this girl who was, I was living with a girl at the time in New York when I recorded that album, and she had a friend named Star who was becoming an actor. And she did that skit pretending to play in the role of my mom. And I remember I had to do it like an exhaustive amount of times and at one point I just settled. I said, that's fine. Let's use that.
Why didn't you want to use your mom's real voice to do that?
I wasn't even getting along with my mom at the time, and I just didn't want to do that. It was just too much, you know, animosity or resentment. You know what I mean? I wanted it to be, and plus there was a time later where I had my mom do something for some Get Busy committee shit much later, but I just didn't want to do that.
But like you were talking about, you were having panic attacks around this time, right? Do you know what like caused it at that time?
Yeah, everything I talked about, not feeling safe, not feeling good, and your brain just gets hardwired for that. I've learned a lot about panic and anxiety. I still have it to this day. I'll still have a little, I'm just much more in control of it, and I'm highly functional because I'm so much more educated about what it is. But even up until, 2010 and 2011, I was having really difficult times. And there's times where I can't fly. I've had I remember being on a flight. My last flight I was on was from Florida to here. And I had really bad panic. And to the point you feel like you can't sit still. You feel like you're going to jump out of your skin. And I had to tell the stewardess, I said, hey, listen, because I'm a big guy. And I'm 6'3", fucking 200 something, 225, 30 pounds. And I told the stewardess, hey, listen, I'm having a panic attack. I don't want to open a fucking door. I don't want to hurt anybody. I just can't keep my body still. So please don't take it as me. I'm not going to do nothing. Because all I'm thinking is I don't want one of them fucking Air Rangers jumping on me. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking I'm fucking losing my mind. But I couldn't sit still. I remember it feels fucking crazy. And you can't help it. You just got to ride it out till it dies out. But it feels horrible. It feels like hell. Absolute hell. My boy Enemy, the illest, he was with me on that flight, and he actually moved so I could like lay down on the whole fucking 3 seats right there. And I was just trying my best to hold on to it. But it's tough, man. Panic attack is fucking gnarly when you're having it. Like there's no just mentally just getting over it and plus what works for some people doesn't work for everybody. Like some people could take a Xanax and they're cool as a cucumber. Some people could smoke some weed and it chills them out. Some people smoke weed and it fucks them up even more, Right. So it's always different, man. I'm even different, like the older I get, different things work, things don't work.
I'm just feel like you got a grip on it, all of a sudden you don't have a grip on it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like, driving sometimes, so it's interesting, man. It's a thing that I think I will always have unless one day in the future they have some ill technology that fucks with your brain and zaps it or some shit. You know what I'm saying? But, it is what it is.
What age is it that you become a radio show host? And how did that even happen?
Fucking 14 in 1993.
Holy shit. That early. Man.
So I used to call up the radio show WHUS 91.7 in the University of Connecticut. And they had this slot of time called Urban Styles. And it was these DJs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday who would all play different versions of urban music, right? The guy who brought me in, he was a little bit older. He went to school with like my aunts and my uncle. His name is Mike Watson. His DJ name is Uncle Chocolate. And Uncle Chocolate played a dance hall show. And so my introduction to being on radio was through a dance hall show. That's why I'm such a huge dance hall fan. 90s dance hall shit. Beanie Man and Buju and Eka Mouse and all these different artists, Capleton. And my first interview I ever did was Patra. Uncle Chocolate helped me interview Patra in 93. And so I was on the air at that point, and then I took a test. I took a test for what you call it, FCC or whatever the fuck it is that you have to go on the radio.
The airwaves thing, yeah.
Yeah. So I took that and I passed it, and they gave me a show. They might have given me a show in 94, which I would have been 15. That makes sense. So that was it. But I would visit the radio show in 93 when I was 14. And it started out with me going Uncle Chocolate, the dance hall show. And then there were two other DJs, DJ Boogie and DJ Zop. And those guys, hip hop, their show was hip hop. And this, you got to think, bro, this is when things were the absolute fucking greatest. Like Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders just dropped. Wu-Tang 36 Chambers just dropped. All this phenomenal shit was out in 93. And then we were getting into 94 with Illmatic, you know what I'm saying? And back to 93, Sunrises in the East had just dropped. Return to the Boom Bap. All these things were dropping at this radio station. And just, I'm constantly hearing all this shit. And it was incredible, man. We had access to this little side room, Studio B, where I would go in there all the time and make mixtapes and play records. And that's where we recorded our first demos because the mic was better. And it was amazing, man.
But you were like living a rapper's dream because, like back then it's like people would feel like, yo, if I could be on the radio, I feel like I made it. You know what I mean? I kind of, or signed a deal. I made it, right? But like, so like, how was that experience like for you? Like, you're feeling at such a young age that, damn, I'm like in this almost like privileged position that a lot of people don't get in.
Oh, it was fucking incredible, man. It was absolutely incredible. I was in love with it. It didn't feel like, oh, I need to get on the radio. It felt very much like college radio. Like, make no mistake about it. I didn't think like I had, had blown up on a commercial level. It was like local people and prisoners were listening to me. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of jail mail. Matter of fact, I have some, like literally right here somewhere is like an old envelope with a fucking letter, a jail letter from that time period.
Oh shit.
So much shit, man. But damn, I'd have to search for it. Yeah. But at any rate, I still have shit from that time period. But, we had people who were locked up listening to us. We were freestyling on the air, me and my boys. I have friends come up there. And DJ Zop was a huge help with, mentoring me, and DJ Boogie. These guys were like big brothers to me. And they weren't, once again, like it was that tough love of them still being like big brothers to me, where they weren't just overly, like they would check me for being corny or doing dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? And that made all the difference in the world,
So the show ends up being called Boombox from the Boondocks, right? At some point? Yeah,
that was later. That was 1997, 1998. Late 97, early 98 is when we came up with Boombox from the Boondocks. And that's when I had gotten up with, I'd known him for a while, but my boy DJ Mayday, shout out to Mayday. And we had done the show, and Open Mic 2 was Open Mic's name at that time. I'm just going to say this because it might be embarrassing to him. And I keep saying Open Mic, but his name at the time was Jedi X. So, my first radio name was Spida, Spida, when like 1993, which quickly changed. But, there was somebody else I gave the name Apathy to. Shout out to Pumpkin from Hartford. And I had given the name to him, and it just didn't stick. And I took the name after a very short amount of time. So I took the name in 93, late 93. And we had this group back in the day called the Terror Monks. It was me, Pumpkin, one other dude, and this girl. And we were kind of like, if you took Smith & Wesson, the Fugees, and J-Roo and mashed it up, that's like the shit we were sounding like. We didn't even really have, I don't even think we had original beats at that time. We were just doing rehearse, we were doing things to instrumentals. We were doing little routines. You know what I'm saying?
So it's through the radio station that you find out about Jedi Mind Tricks, and they were rapping about similar things that you and Alien Nation were doing, right?
Well, let me say this. Here's the thing that people need to understand about that radio station. From 93 all the way to the early 2000s, that place was like a second home to me. So everything that happened, no matter how much we traveled or did other shit, I was always there, right? Whether it was having a show or guesting on other people's show or just being up there or being in Studio B. It was like a second home to me. I was friends with all the program directors. I'm still friends with all the old guys. All the old program director guys, I'm friends with them on Facebook still, love those guys. John Murphy, Chris Sampson. I'm just shouting them out just by off chance that they see this. You know what I'm saying? When's the time that they're going to get a shout out like this? But, I was always there. So a lot of my early days, everything that happened was like, that was the radio station was the backbone of my experience throughout the 90s. So I was up there one time, and this is when we had already linked up with Alien Nation. This is when we had already been doing all that super supreme knowledge shit. We were down with Zulu Nation. All of a sudden, and we're rapping about that deep ass cosmic shit. You know what I'm saying? And we hadn't heard anybody else who rapped about it like we did. And then all of a sudden, I get this fucking vinyl in the mail at WHUS, and nobody else had a show like mine. Nobody else would have been interested in it. Everybody else was playing a little more pedestrian level shit at that time. And I see this fucking vinyl Jedi Mind Tricks, the Amber Probe EP. And I was like, damn, what is this? This looks ill. Fucking throw that shit on. And I'm like, oh my God, these guys are like us, man. These guys are rapping about Holy Tabernacle shit, Dr. Malachi York, and all this deep fucking crazy shit, the Anunnaki and all that. And there's an email on there. And I email it, and I think it was Pablo. Shout out to Pablo. Pablo worked at Super Regular Records, and shout out to Jan too. And I had linked up with Vinny, and we had linked up through email at first. He gave me his phone number, and I remember I was living with my dad, and I remember fucking running up his fucking phone bill, like just me and Vinny ciphering. Like I had to work it all off. I had to do work to pay my dad. But I remember fucking ciphering. We're just sitting there spitting verses for each other back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And at one point, Eternia had, way back then when we were teenagers, Eternia was my first actual girlfriend. And she came and lived with me. She was in Connecticut. And Paz invited me to come down and be on the album. So we took an Amtrak down there and went to Philly, and we did the Psychosocial, and I dropped 3 verses on that. Eternia dropped a verse, but I guess they just felt like it didn't fit the song right. It didn't sound right, so she didn't make the cut on that one. But yeah.
Right. You said in the past, like typically you would have felt the way that they were like similar to you, but they were doing it so right that you couldn't even hate on it, basically, right? You just knew that they were hot. Like
They were dope. I didn't even feel threatened. I was just like, yo, I gotta know these people. I gotta get in contact with them. They're fucking fire. Like, but that was also at another point where, so that blossomed, right? The 90s was the early to mid 90s was very competitive. And I'm not saying it didn't stop being competitive, but there was a certain point in time where, at least for me and my crew, and I think a lot of other people, that we saw this indie boom shit was starting to gain traction, the Fat Beats days and all that. And it was a lot about collaboration. Like we all wanted to know each other. We all wanted to network. All of us had these fucking notebooks. Let me see if I have an old one. All of us had these fucking notebooks where we would have names and numbers scribbled in the back. Oh, this isn't old enough. Oh, damn. Somewhere under here. Oh, wait. Somewhere under here is, I mean, this is a rough one. This is like later, much later, but like you see, like there's like people's like numbers like written on here. But that's how we connected. Like we meet somebody, be like, yo, what's your number? And I'd be like, boom, oh, this person, boom, boom, boom. And our shit would be, the back of our notebooks would be filled up with numbers and emails and all that shit. So it was very much a time about collaboration and trying to get with each other, networking with each other, trying to work with each other, trying to just get known and respected by each other too.
Yeah, so you appeared on 3 songs on that album, right? The 3 Immortals, Omnicron, and the Apostles' Creed. How was the response that you felt from like the people when they heard that album and the music?
People loved it, man. It was dope. It wasn't like resounding, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like super wild, but it was definitely dope. And it was really positive, and it was crazy to be on vinyl. And I remember we got a good review by this writer, Brian Coleman, at the time, and I was really gassed off that. And it was fantastic, man. Like people definitely showed love. But like I said, it wasn't like it was like a home run. Like it was a part of the history. And I think it was more because I was a feature too. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that it was Paz was kaboom. You know what I'm saying? He was off to the races because it's his project, it's his group. But for me, it was really, really dope. But it wasn't me yet. You know what I'm saying? I was just kind of featured on it. I was on 3 records, but still.
And at that time, he's going by Icon, the verbal
Hologram, right.
Yeah, that's dope, man. So after working with Jedi Mind Tricks, this is like when you start really like battle rapping like religiously.
Yep.
Almost, right? Like, and that's where like all the videos on YouTube come from.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it's pretty crazy, man. Like, you got to be grateful for all those videos to have the, show like the proof that, man, you was really out here doing it.
I am, but it's also funny because that was a weird fucking time where I was never a wannabe. Like, I never fronted, but I would wear, baseball caps and dress a certain way. But because it was the 2000s and because I had a girlfriend at the time who I thought was, I was in love with my girlfriend at the time, who now is my ex-wife, the mother of my kids. But that's when her and I first got together. Her and I first got together in 1998. And
damn, I didn't know that you guys stayed together that long. Wow.
No. We stayed together we started dating in 98 and we dated for 5 years. Then we broke up for 8 years and we got back. We got back together in like 2010. And then, we stayed together for a long time. But we had history. We just felt like family. You know what I'm saying? Because we had known each other since we were kids. So, but the point is, a lot of that battles, man, like I was just in my supreme white boy era where like fucking Backstreet Boys were out. And I'm not saying I was influenced by Backstreet, but white boys had certain hair. You couldn't be looking too crazy out there. You know
I wasn't going to say anything, but you're right, though.
Oh, yeah, man. I had fucking Nick Lachey hair out there. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a funny time period. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was really funny.
So you were doing a lot of battles at that time, but you never did Scribble Jam, right?
No, I wish I did. I don't know why that didn't happen. I knew that people wanted me to do it, and some of those guys wanted me to do it too, and I think I had been invited. But whatever was going on in life at that time, I just wasn't able to, and I regret that. I regret not going to Scribble Jam, and yeah, I know everybody who did fucking, Idea was there killing shit. I never knew Idea. I never met him, but, I was friends with Slug, Sage Francis, Mac Lethal, all these different guys who kind of, really made their mark on that.
But at least you did the Blaze Battle Royale, right?
No, I never did the Blaze.
No, you never did that? What is the one that you battle ADeeM? Sorry.
ADeeM.
Yeah.
That was just Rhode Island shit, man. There was just a whole bunch of battles that were happening in the New England area. And there was
the description said it was the Blaze battle, so I don't know.
No. That was some Rhode Island shit. There was the Super Bowl battle where I battled Pac FM. Esoteric was in that. Jin was in that. That was a big deal up in Boston. Super Bowl battle. That was big, but never the Blaze. Breeze Everflowing won a Blaze battle one time. I wish I had gotten into some of the more crazy ones because I was on my fucking shit in those days, man. And Let's remind the people though too. This is when you're really freestyling.
Oh yeah, to a beat too. So you have to stay on point with the flow. It's not like how there's no beat and you could just kind of create your own thing. No, this is like really off the top of the head. To a beat, it's not written, and you're battling somebody too.
Right. So, and you have no idea who you're going to battle.
Right.
You got to think quick. You got to size them up. Look at what they're wearing. Look at what they're doing. And you got to just fry people. Like there was one. It's on there. It's on YouTube too. We did a show at the Ocean Mist. We would go there a lot in Rhode Island. The Ocean Mist. It was like picture like the bar from fucking Roadhouse. You know what I'm saying? With Patrick Swayze. That's what it was like. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people performed there, And so we were rocking. And Jay Zone, who I was friends with Jay Zone at the time.
Right.
Him and Al-Sheed and Huggy Bear. Am I right? I don't want to fuck up the guy's name. I think that was his name. Okay. If I got it wrong, sorry. I think it was Huggy Bear. But now I feel like that's wrong. I'm second guessing myself. I'm like, anyway, hope it is. I hope it's right. So fucking, I'm in the middle of my set. I'm doing my songs. And Al-Sheed comes up on stage, Jay Zone's man, And he's standing there. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing on the stage while I'm rocking? He's just standing there. And I was like, what's up? He's like, I heard you the man, blah, blah, blah. Let's battle. And I'm like, word? Coming on during my set. And I fucking dismantled him, bro. I fucking dismantled Al-Shid on the stage. And then he tried to say some shit after. He was like, oh yeah, it's because you're a hometown hero. It's not even my state, bro. I'm not even from that state. What? And
he's got a Purple Heart.
Yeah, crazy. So it was a funny thing. It was a lot of fun though. It was great. I love that he did that. I love that was a memory. That was a great time. But I still definitely dismantled him on that shit.
But it's crazy because you battled ADeeM, right? Like after he won the Scribble Jam.
Oh, I didn't know that. I feel like I've lost.
Yeah, because it was 99 when you battled him. I think they said on the footage, and he won in 98.
He what?
He won in 98 for a Scribble Jam, and you battled him in 99, I think.
Yeah, and I beat him.
Actually, did you ever battle Icon the Mic King?
Yeah, I fucking destroyed Icon. And by the way, he's a friend. He just texted me tonight. I love him. Here's the thing. I'll say something too. I was going to wait to talk to him about this at some point, publicly, but there was a time period where I did not care for him. And it had to do with, and I'm going to pay him a compliment. So a very big compliment at the end of this. I just want to frame this out. There was a time period he was young, like we all were, right? And I was a dickhead a lot, man. I was just, really full of myself, really ego-driven, loud, obnoxious, just doing too much. That was a lot of me, right? And he was like that at some point too when I was getting out of that a little bit more. And he would just do a lot of shit. Like he hung around my old DJ a lot, and he was just around a lot. And he would just act mega fucking immature back in those days, like yelling at people, strangers, like old people in like the casino or fucking, just wilding out, doing dumb shit. And I didn't really care for him at that time. I didn't care for his arrogance, and I ended up really liking him because he's grown and matured to such a fucking great businessman and a good dude and a dad and all those different things.
He's a good-hearted dude. You could tell, though.
He is.
Like, he admits that he's an asshole,
yeah,
but he's a real good dude, I feel like.
I agree with that, and he is. But all that to be said, that's why I can safely say, and I don't give a fuck what he says. We had it on video. I've studied it many a times. He probably thought a different way in his fucking head back then. I fucking destroyed him. I fucking destroyed him in this battle. Like I had like tricks I did and shit where I fucking, was interacting with the crowd while I'm battling him. And I remember there was one girl with a tube top, and it was like, I think it was like spring or something. It was still chilly out, and she was front row, and I was like, this was just one out of like a fucking 100 lines I said, but I said, son, you get crippled because my raps are harder than that girl's nipples. And everybody's like, oh, and this girl was like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? And then there was like just times like little dumb things that look good showmanship wise. Like somebody was holding the poster tube like this. And I said something about you're on my dick like this, and pulled the poster tube out like it was my dick. The crowd went crazy. One of the guys, I don't remember if it was Icon or this other dude, I said something, I don't even, something about I could get something, I don't even need help. Fuck you, I'll just battle myself. And I started jumping back and forth, battling myself, ignoring him like he wasn't there.
Oh, wow.
I was dissing myself. And I had it all on videotape. And there was this dude at Bronx Science Records, Tariq, who borrowed the videotapes because he was going to try to digitize them way back then. But the videos just got, I don't know where the fuck they are, but I watched them 100 times, man. They were really fucking dope. Damn. And I fucking destroyed Icon in that battle, man. Oh, no, here's what happened. It's even better than that. He lost. He didn't feel like he lost because I remember the audio where I said this, and he kept talking shit from the side of the stage. I go, yo, you lost, but come back up here and I'll fuck you up again. I'll bust your ass again. And I did. He came back up, and I fucking, even after I'd already won the battle. And you know what's dope? I'll say, and by the way, like I said, I love Mike, man. He's a fucking great dude.
Yeah, shout out to Mike.
That's a fact, bro. So anyway, he just invited me to something. I got to write back to him. I got to send him a message. He literally just today invited me to something. That the battle, open mic, going back to open mic, he had a daughter, and I'm the godfather to my daughter. And actually my godson, open mic's son too, it edits my podcast, Brandon. So he's grown up now. He edits my podcast. And then Cassandra, my goddaughter, she's on a song with that I produced for Locksmith, and I think it has Zion I on it. And she's on the hook. I produced it. It's called Pull Me Out the Water. I think Zion I's on that one. And rest in peace. And so Cassandra, anyway, she was born at that time. And the money that I won from that battle, why it was so urgent for me to win that battle, was for her fucking baby shower present. I had to buy her a present. You know what I'm saying? So at the time, I was like a broke kid. You know what I'm saying? It was like I won like $200 or $300, and I bought her something. But that's why I really wanted to win that battle too, so I could buy my goddaughter a present, and I did.
Yo, man. So what happened? What was his reaction after he lost the second time?
I mean, he was tight. He didn't believe it. He didn't believe it forever. He didn't think that he lost. You know what I'm saying?
But you guys judged it by having judges, or it was by like the crowd?
There was judges and the crowd. The crowd went bonkers. The judges went bonkers. Everybody, every human in that place except for Icon the Mike King went fucking crazy. So,
all right, who would you say is the most famous person you've ever battled?
I don't know. I didn't really. It wasn't really, there was no one really like that. It wasn't like that when I was battling. It was just kind of people who were just on the same level, you know?
Got you.
Myself, when I did that.
Right. When you beat Icon the Mike King.
Right.
Mike, you'll have a chance to respond, in the next interview. What do you think of battle rap today and how it's transformed?
I talk, there's so many friends, man, that I have, like, rest in peace, Pat Stay. Pat Stay was a friend of mine. We bonded over being fathers. We talked all the time. Pat would only talk through voice notes. Most people will know this. He rarely texted or wrote anything. So I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of voice notes, conversations going back and forth. And he was fucking hilarious. And Pat was absolutely on an elite level, man. Like, so many of these guys are just fucking lunatics. Just absolute maniac lunatics. What's he talking about right here? Let me see. Hold on.
Yo,
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on, let me see. See some of the funny shit.
Not sure what time. I know they start in the afternoon, and I'm the main event. And I think it's like 8 battles. You get 80 priorities right there, App. Come on. Battle rap or your kids.
He said, you got to get your priorities straight, App. Come on, battle rap or your kids. Pat was always funny, and Pat was always dope. Pat was always amazing to talk to. But he had been in the city. This makes me sick to my stomach. He had been in the city to do something with Barstool, and he hit me up, and he's like, yo, come through. I'm right in New York. Let's get up. And I was like, man, I got my kids. I really can't find a sitter. If I would have tried harder, I probably could have somehow, some way. But I was just like, normal thing where people come through all the time. And I'm like, I'm old now. I don't feel like fucking doing anything. But he wanted to get up. And that would have been the last opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I would have seen him before he passed. And that still fucks me up to this day.
Yeah, man. Where were you when you found out the news that he had passed away?
I was at home, and somebody had told me, and fucking Premiere calls me. Premiere calls, I just found out, and I was still shell shocked. And Premiere calls me, and he's like, yo, I'm right down the street at Mohegan with Tom Segura. Do you want to go out and eat with us? And I was like, I can't. I was like, I'm fucked up right now. So, that's just the memory I had of that night, like Premier and Tom Segura hanging out, and I just couldn't go out because I was fucked up over Pat being murdered, So that's, I don't remember exactly what I was doing, but it just fucking sucked.
Do you remember where you met Pat? And like how you guys built like a friendship over the years?
We met on fucking Instagram. We just fucking started bullshitting and talking with each other, and then just talking on the phone and sending each other voice notes and calling each other and fucking, all that shit.
You ever feel like that was a gift and that he didn't text, so that he sent you those voice notes so that you could continue to hear his voice even after that he's gone?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love that. I think he had that with everybody, though. I think that's a universal thing. I think anybody who was friends with Pat has 500 or 5,000 or 50,000 voice notes in their in text or inbox DMs. But, going back to the battle rap shit, Disaster. I love Disaster's a friend of mine. All these guys. Real Deal, a fucking Marv One. These guys are so dope. They're such good dudes. And there was a time where I did a freestyle. I did a verse, a cappella on social media, and Disaster hit me up and he goes, App, you got to get in this shit, bro. You'd fucking annihilate these pussies on here. You would annihilate so many. Disaster always talking fucking wild. He's like, these guys are fucking pussies, man. You would destroy them. And I was like, I can't do what you guys do, man. You guys are so fucking elite where you'll write something that's so complicated and ill, and you'll write it 24 hours in advance and memorize it. I can't fucking memorize shit. It takes me months to learn a regular verse from a song that I have to perform. Never mind how next level these guys piece and weave together verses. Like battle rap is such an evolved form of this art form. I can't hang. You know what I'm saying?
We have to remind people that it was a different transition from freestyling to actual written battle rap form. It's a totally different monster.
Well, here's the interesting part. I was a part of that. I almost became a part of that transition because here's how it happened. Back in the day when we were all battling, all those old videos you see, we all ran in the same circles: Poison Pen, Pumpkinhead, Diabolic. And Pen and PH were both trying to get me to go to the end of the week shit, way back, the event end of the week. And they wanted me to be a part of that whole scene where battle rap was taking form. And this is when I was starting to gain traction, making records. And so they're like, yo, App, come through, like do more battling. And I'm like, bro, I already did battling. I'm over this. I'm about making records now. Fuck battling. I don't want to do that. And they're like, yeah, but it's dope because this, and this. And I just didn't see it. I couldn't see it. And I'm happy I did. I'm happy I went the route because I like making the records. You know what I'm saying? It's a different animal, the battle rap scene. It's like a sport almost. And I think it should be a sport.
It's like league ball versus street ball. You know what I'm saying? Like making records being in like that kind of lane versus like doing the battle rap thing. And unfortunately, there's a stigma about battle rappers where it's like, oh, you can only battle rap. You can't really make records and stuff like that. So it's like you kind of get pigeonholed into this thing. Not saying that's right. You know what I'm saying? But like I think it's almost like people like you what they know you for kind of thing.
Well, I'll say this to all my friends. Every single one of them would absolutely destroy me in a rap battle, but none of them can make fucking records like I can. Not a motherfucking one of them, bro.
You know, it's so funny though, because I was talking to Lush earlier today, and we spoke about you. I was like, yo, why didn't you guys ever get him on Grind Time or something like that? He's like, yeah, man, we probably could have got him. Huh? He's like, dang, we should have did that. You know.
No battling for me, bro. I was smart enough to keep my nose the fuck out that shit. One time, it was Real Deal, A War. Is that was that who it was? A-Ward? Quest McCody and Marv One, they all came to New London. A-Ward. I'm bugging. I know a rapper named A-Ward too, that's why. They came to New London and I watched them. They got an Airbnb here where I live, right on the ocean in Connecticut. And they got an Airbnb and I came over and I'm hanging out with them all day. And I watched them rehearse and I watched them go through their motions. And I was just like, yeah, this is confirmed. I can't fucking do this, man. These guys are fucking wizards. Like, these guys are fucking wizards with what they do. I was in awe of how technical and how skilled and dope they are. And I'm like, I just can't do this. You're right about, like, it's like, you know, making records is like the NBA. You dribble really good, you shoot really good, you play defense really good. It's very safe and very structured. That shit is like fucking and one mixtapes, bro. Like,
right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like crazy. They're just like jaw-dropping shit. That's why it's so entertaining, because they're just so fucking elite at what they do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. For sure, man. Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to the battle rappers. I feel like a lot of them don't get the props that they deserve, man. You know, and yo, App, you might have saved yourself from being the first cannabis situation, man, pulling out a notebook or something, you know.
Oh, I wouldn't have pulled out a notebook. I know my fucking,
you could freestyle, so you would have just went that route.
Yeah, it wouldn't have gotten me very far. Somebody would have had a dissertation on my career and dismantled me and talked about fucking parking tickets and bitches I dated.
Right.
And I'm just like, yo, you look stupid with those shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we brought your girlfriend from second grade here.
right.
And you look weird with a beard now.
Right. You know, I'll tell you what, I know it's so cliche, but my favorite fucking, what was it? Was it Pat and Roan who did the compliment battle?
Oh, yeah.
That shit had me pissing my fucking pants, bro. I was laughing so hard when they did that shit. I love that shit, man. And then there's these old things. I know it's old for the battle rap community, but like Disaster walks in the fucking gas station and starts like rapping about everything. The guy, at this like 7-Eleven, you know what I'm saying? And right. I probably ran that shit back like fucking 45 times, man. I just watch his shit over and over again. Disaster's a fucking tornado, man.
He is, man. He is, for sure. Shout out to Diz, man.
Word up.
So you also had a big cipher with Big L, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about big. I just talked to Open Mike about this the other day. It was Big L was there, Curious George was there, and L was already, like, people were already treating him like a star. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't even have a conversation with the guy. Plus, I was intimidated.
What year are we
talking? 94. It must have been 94.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe 94, maybe 95. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was 95. But he was already a star at that point, man. He was already like, everybody was like, yo, L, boom, boom, boom. But at least I got to spit in the cipher that he was at. And, you know, I think Curious George was at that cipher too. It's interesting getting old too, like some of the details about who was there and who wasn't there. Being that so much time has passed, like 30 years passes, right? 30 years is fucking crazy, bro.
Exactly.
And Open Mike and I talk all the time, and we'll go over stories, and I'll be like, yeah, this guy was here. And Mike's like, what? Oh, shit, I didn't remember that guy was, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm positive. And then Mike will be like, this happened with this person. And I'm like, no, that person wasn't there. He's like, oh, yes, it was. Look, we got a picture of it. And I'm like, what the fuck? So it's interesting trying to remember in a time period where you don't have one of these, you know what I'm saying? Right. You don't have a smartphone to capture every fucking moment. We had disposable fucking cameras, you know what I'm saying? Like, so we would try the best we could to get snapshots, but the ciphers out in Harlem were some of the best times, man, and totally shaped and shifted and changed and fine-tuned who I am as a MC.
How was his reaction to what you spit in that cipher?
Just, regular shit, like, okay, word, that's dope, you know. I wasn't as wild back then either. I was pretty good.
Right.
But it wasn't, OD me in my peak form, you know what I'm saying? But it
we
was
talking
just
you're like 15, 16 at the time.
Yeah, 15, 16 years old. And these guys are like, all right, what's up? That's what's up, That's it. Just and everybody's just being like that anyway. So
Right. The epic radio freestyle with you and Sage Francis, Slug, and Blueprint.
Who else would you say?
Slug and Blueprint was there too, right?
No, those guys weren't there. It was just me and Sage. Maybe you heard some mashed up shit that's a fan made.
Oh,
or
okay,
something.
yeah, maybe, yeah. But for sure, I know Sage. It was you and Sage, and it's like the epic thing that's like back and forth. He ends up putting it on like one
Rapping
of
with
his tapes
Apathy.
later.
Yeah,
right, yeah.
Last time I saw Sage, we were at the same playground. He lives near me, and every time I run, I love running into him. Man, he's a fucking beautiful guy, beautiful human, and we also connect over being dads. And last time we saw each other was at a playground where we bring our kids to play.
Right, I saw that.
We were just talking about dad stuff mostly, you know what I'm saying? Which is hilarious, But it's funny how things come around.
It's the funny thing about that freestyle is that he says, like, I saw an interview with him. He said years later, he was like, it really wasn't that great, but it was the chemistry between you guys going back and forth and that you guys kept on going that made it so great.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's what it was though. That's what it felt like. That was the bottom line of what you had to do. It was just like sparring. You know what I'm saying? It was like steel sharpens steel. It was just us staying slick on what we always did. It was the baseline. Like you couldn't be a sucker and be half-assed. You had to at least have that baseline foundation. And it was just us fucking around. And yeah, we weren't saying anything good, man. You know what I'm saying? I said, throw MCs back. He goes, Sage Francis rapping with Apathy. And I come in and go, throw MCs back where the scrap should be. It's just whatever. You know what I'm saying?
What year was the deal with Atlantic? 2003, right?
2003, right. Yep.
Who was signed at the time that you signed to Atlantic?
Good question. So on the East Coast, I believe it was James Lopez I think James was A&R because James was cool. Shout out to James Lopez from Atlantic. James had, I think, whoever the fuck it was on the East Coast had Lupe. Shout out to my brother Lupe. Lupe was a friend right from the beginning. Little brother. Shout out to Tay and Pooh. And Saigon. Big up to Saigon too. All those guys are great guys. They were all on like the other division of Atlantic. And my A&R, Mike Karen, his repertoire, his artists under him were Trick Daddy, Trina, Trey Songz, T.I., Nappy Roots, and fuck, I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. But that was his whole shit.
Why'd they put you with him?
He was the one who signed me. He was out in LA.
Oh.
He's just the guy who signed me. Mike is huge, man. Mike is very, very big. His history is crazy. Sometimes we didn't get along. Sometimes we butted heads, and but Mike taught me a lot, and Mike was cool for the most part. And there were issues that I had with Atlantic and the label, and maybe him too. And there were certain things that I don't like that he did, but it was a awesome experience. It was a cool experience.
You wrote a diss track to him called "Fuck You."
That wasn't just to him. That was to the whole label, the whole label experience, and it was also to let my fans know what it was. Right. But it was that too. And the funny part is when I sent it to him, he thought it was fucking great and wanted that to get a bigger, the thing that he ever got the most mad about was I was in an issue of Double XL. I think it had Shine on the cover. And it was a double cover. One had Shine. I have it somewhere here. And I had talked about my label situation, and it was a pretty dope thing. And I was angry about the situation, but the title was The Mad Rapper. They wrote that in the title, and because it was meant to be a literal sense that I was just mad. It wasn't like I was just hating, like the mad rapper skit. I was just mad about the situation because I felt stuck and I wasn't willing to compromise to do the shit they wanted me to do. But Mike was upset about that title because he felt like it made it look like I was upset at them, and he didn't want that out there, visibly. So,
but at that time though, like, you were saying that the A&R that you get that's in charge of your project, right? It can really change like your whole experience with a label.
Absolutely.
And they were wanting you to make like what, more commercial sounding records and shit like that?
Correct. They wanted me to make hits, which, I don't blame them for, but I wanted hits on an organic level. I wanted to do hip hop, and that's what I told Mike from the very beginning. And Mike wanted me to make goofy fly by night shit. Like, I've told this story. The Asher Roth I Love College, I co-produced that with Mike. That was my record. We sampled Weezer, Say It Ain't So. It wasn't called I Love College. It had nothing to do with college. It was just the beat. And I put that break beat on there. I put the MC Light 10% Diss break beat on that shit because originally it had big rock drums on it. Mike had this production team called the Tailgaters. In the session, when he pulled it up, it had big live drums on it. And I was like, this got to sound more hip hop, man. Like, this is so. And when I was looking through his records, because he had a small record collection right off his studio, I was looking through his records and I was looking for like an ultimate break beats or like at least like a record I knew that had drums on it, open drums. And the first thing I came across was MC Light 10% Diss. And I thought for, the tempo it was at, I was like, oh shit, that could work, And I remember wanting to keep in the hot damn, ho, that part. That was me wanting to keep that into because he wanted to like somehow like get parts that didn't have that on there.
But did you get a lot of money from that?
No, nothing.
Because a lot of people don't even know you're credited for that, right?
Listen, I didn't even know the fucking thing came out because after I left Atlantic, because there was no worksheet or anything, I just thought I was working on my album. I don't know if he was trying to front like I didn't do it or didn't do anything to that, but there was no worksheet, there was no anything like that. It was just all of a sudden, a couple years later, I don't remember how many years later, I'm in LA and I fucking hear that song come on the radio and I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck? I have the session somewhere. There's like I have multiple spindles of CDs and I have the session for that song here somewhere.
But you never wanted to pursue it like legally or anything?
Too tough I didn't have the energy or
I hear you,
the where, to pursue that. Like there was no worksheet, there was no agreement, there was no record of it. It was just, it would have been like my word against him. He's a fucking rich, guy from the record industry.
Right. So the whole thing was like, a lot of times there was like promises that, oh, we like what you're doing, we're going to put this out, and then it doesn't happen, right? Like even the Fuck You song, they said that he said he wanted to press it up and put it out, but it didn't happen.
Right. No, he didn't say he wanted to press it up and put it out. He just thought labels want you to go viral without them and then come in once all the work has been done. That's what major labels want happen. They want you to pop off organically and then they'll come in and, augment that, but they want you to lay the concrete foundation and put the walls up and all that. So they wanted me to just keep going viral. That's why Mike wanted me to keep putting out records, and he was just waiting for me to stumble across a hit.
Got you. And that happens to be the song that he liked the most that you were doing at that time.
He just liked it because it was edgy and it had something to it, It wasn't just like regular boom bap hip hop. It was something that was controversial, something where I was funny that people could sing along to. He liked anything like that, that was kind of like a catchy, simple, stupid thing.
What do you think is like the most important thing that you learned while you were at Atlantic?
I don't know if there's one single thing. I learned that the music industry they just want money, man. There's no culture in the music industry. And I think here's the most important thing. I'm not going to act like it's some gem for people to use. The most important thing that I learned is that Hollywood lifestyle, the big major label, flying to jets, doing big photo shoots, living that life is not for me. It's not my cup of tea. I don't fuck with it. And I don't care what that looked like monetarily. If I have to just make a regular living and, do music, and if I had to do whatever, I would have rather have done whatever than make fucking $10 million, $50 million a year doing that shit. It wasn't for me, man. It just wasn't. I left. They didn't drop me. They didn't kick me out. I left because I was like, this is not my fucking thing. The Hollywood scene, the red carpets, the parties, all that fuck shit was, God bless anybody who needs that in their life. Good for you. Do whatever you're going to do. Not for me.
What was it about it that you didn't like it? It just felt like fake and forced?
Absolutely. The phoniness, the everybody looking over your shoulder at parties to see if there's somebody more important to talk to, the feigning of interest and the acting like they're your buddy and it's all cool. It's just phony, man. It's like, that's why sometimes I would really like to watch that show. I liked watching that show Entourage because it highlighted a lot of the bullshit and a lot of the phony ass shit. I was like, yeah, this is pretty accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was just whack, man. It was just it was really empty. It was spiritually empty. And I'm not asking for spiritual fulfillment, but for me to be around that, it was just draining. And then the constant demand for that type of schedule, for to be doing that shit, it's just, I have no interest.
You seem like a really self-aware guy, right? So like you're really conscious of your emotions, or like when you're in certain environments and how you feel. And I can only imagine that with you saying you felt drained, so like being in interactions with people where like this is not real, you know what I'm saying? Like you're taking note of how you feel when you're in this and it doesn't feel good.
Right. Is there a question there?
Yeah, no. So I'm just saying, like, like based off of that, like you're a very direct person. So like I can't really see you faking it for that long.
I can't. Listen, man, I can't fake the funk about shit. Maybe that's an Achilles heel of mine. I feel like maybe to my own detriment, brutally honest. And, sometimes, like for the thing is like, I know it's supposed to be cool, like where you're not supposed to respond to haters and talk shit. I don't care, man. I'm gonna do what feels right for me. I'm not gonna abide by some rules that were set up by the industry or anybody else. I do what I think is the right thing and what makes me sleep well at night and, makes me feel a certain way that's authentic and genuine to me. And I spent a lot of time posturing and not being self-aware and not being accountable for my own actions. And it's taken me a long time to get on the path where I need to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to say what the truth is, and I need to be totally honest. I don't give a fuck about what anybody feels about that. I'm going to say how I feel, and I'm not going to disrespect anybody. I'm not going to shit on anybody consciously, but I'm going to be brutally honest.
Got you. So in 2006, you end up releasing Eastern Philosophy. Can you take us through the process? Because you were still signed to Atlantic at that time when you put that out, right?
Correct. And Atlantic owned it at that time. It was an Atlantic Records album that Baby Grand licensed.
Oh, wow.
And I think what was happening was Atlantic wanted me to do all these records, and we were doing all this crazy shit, all these goofy records. And there's nothing, by the way, I've released a whole bunch of like bootleg, Apathy, it's the bootlegs and all these like side things, all these little side projects. There's nothing I ever recorded that I have not put out. Like all the shit that was for Atlantic, I leaked it all. You know what I'm saying? Songs like Everyday, songs, just tons of records, man. I forget. A whole bunch of all the shit that I recorded during my Atlantic times with like my brother, Eighth Wonder, a producer from Rhode Island, and all the stuff that I did on Atlantic, I released all that shit. The only things I didn't release was like shit I didn't have permission. Like we had one song with Alchemist, and I didn't have permission to put that out. Atlantic never bought it from Al, and just the song, I think I repurposed the lyrics, repurposed the hook. So, but everything else is just out there. But with Eastern Philosophy, I think I knew that the fans wanted something from me that was authentic, because I did the Where's Your Album, which was a mixtape. You know what I'm saying? I did It's the Bootleg Motherfuckers. I did all these mixtapes, but I knew they wanted a solid, and I was craving to make a solid album. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to make a full body of work that represented who I was. So I got permission. I asked Mike, I said, yo, can I just put out an underground album? He goes, yeah, absolutely. Keep fanning the flames of your, your whatever, your career. So he was cool with it. I got permission. My lawyer also too at the time, Theo Settlemeyer. I've known Theo since he was in college, and he's a great friend. Theo was 50 Cent and Eminem's attorney. He was a real big attorney for a lot of people, a lot of really super famous people. And Theo helped me tremendously, because Theo at that time, like I said, at that time he was working with M and 50, and Theo was great. Theo helped me out so much, man. And Theo got it so where I could do the album, do it however I wanted, sell it however I wanted. Atlantic, technically owned the rights to it, but, I ended up getting that too. I ended up getting the rights. So I own Eastern Philosophy. And Chuck Wilson at Baby Grand, it was great, man. It was a great situation. He licensed it back then and licensed it for a few years, and it's mine. I own it in totality.
Wow. That's amazing, man. And that album is just like classic. Like, it's a lot of concepts on there and everything. Just really seems to encompass what you wanted to do, the vibe and everything.
Right.
How do you feel about that project looking back now after all these years, nearly 20 years now?
There's a lot of records on there I'm really proud of. A lot of records that I didn't love, but I'm very proud of that album, and altogether, I'm really proud of it.
One thing I want to highlight is that you sampled I Get Money, Money Is Got, that sample before 50 even got to it.
Yeah. We cleared that too. That got cleared, which was, not always a normal practice, but that one actually got cleared. Chuck Wilson cleared that shit. So that was pretty dope.
Yeah, man. So when you left Atlantic, you got to take the album with you?
Oh, by the way, shout out to Evil D for doing the cuts on that one right there. Yeah, I took the album. I took Eastern Philosophy with me and all my masters, everything I recorded during the time period at Atlantic.
What was the terms of the release for you to get released?
I don't know. Theo handled it. It was just, I'm out of here. That was it.
So you didn't have to give them money back or anything like that?
No, I didn't give them shit. Nah.
Damn, that's
just
dope, man.
I'm out with my masters. They were like, yeah, it's fine. It's all good.
That's dope. So before you signed with Atlantic, it was interesting because Interscope had expressed interest in you as well.
Right.
So like I saw, on a episode of the Shortcast recently, or not recently, but one of the episodes of the Shortcast, make sure you guys subscribe, that you were talking about how labels would snatch up artists just to shelve them, so it didn't mess with their current artists.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Interscope having Eminem, here you are, another white rapper that could possibly pose a threat. Do you think that Interscope had some kind of intention like that, or what made you not go with them?
I don't think they like maliciously were like, yeah, let's get this guy so he can't fuck anything up. I think that it would have been a win-win for them if I got on there and I had a hit. If I had an undeniable smash hit, great. They would have been great. But also, if I got on there and nothing happened, it's a tax write-off. It doesn't matter, and it's no interference with their artists. You know what I'm saying? So I think I can't really say. I don't know that they really engineered it so they were setting me to fuck me. But who the fuck knows? They could have definitely been doing that too. But that was a great experience too, and I was just gassed up. I wasn't even thinking about that at the time. I was just thinking like, this is fucking fire. I'm signed to fucking Interscope Records flew me out to fucking LA to hang out. Yeah, me and Self. Yeah, we flew out there, bro. We had the greatest time. They gave us everything. Fucking, we didn't have cell phones at that point. You know, it's fucking super early, and they gave us a company cell phone and rented us a big ass SUV. We could charge everything to the room at the hotels, getting fucking haircuts on the room, and you know, all food, ordering food like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like just crazy.
What was it about the Interscope deal that didn't look as appealing as Atlantic?
They just they were interested, but they weren't invested. Like Jimmy Iovine was at the Eminem cleaning out my closet video shoot and never got to meet with us. And then it just seemed like it was kind of going nowhere. So we're like, fuck. And then Miles, this guy Miles who worked at BMI, Miles Lewis, Miles set us up with a meeting with Mike Karen, and Mike Karen met with us. And on my way back to the hotel, he had called me. I didn't know. He had called he had reached out to my mom. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a home number or some shit on record. And he called my mom and was like, my mom calls me and goes, some guy from Atlantic Records just called. And like, bro, we just left the building. We went and got something to eat. We did this and that. And I called him back and he was like, yo, I'm pretty sure it was a demo deal at first. And then it led to us signing, or me signing. He wanted me to sign. And then we went and met Craig Coleman in New York, and you know, it was just Atlantic stepped up, and Interscope just kind of went away.
What do you think of the notion that people have said that Atlantic Records is one of the worst record companies ever?
Oh, I don't know. I can't call it, man. I mean, now that I've never really noticed that, but now that I'm thinking about it.
Because you know Lupe, and remember his experience with Atlantic was terrible at one point, man. It was very bad.
Yeah, I mean, we all kind of commiserated in Saigon too. You know,
yeah,
we've all kind of felt like that. So yeah, I guess you know, I feel like all labels are just tough, man. It's tough. It's a different world now that we're all independent and we can
for sure,
you know, operate in a different way. But these labels, it's a fucking machine, man. It has no soul or emotion. They don't give a fuck, and they fucking fillet you so bad when you go in the building. Like, hey, what's up? Oh my god, yeah, I heard about you. Oh yeah, dude, can't wait. Oh, you're so killer. Like all this super phony shit, all the fucking tail wagging, and then when it comes down to it, they're just like, oh yeah, I don't know, man. Blah blah blah. Like, it's very aloof.
Bro, I've heard stories where like they'll like instruct people to play your music as you go into the building. So then you think that they're really fucking with you.
Yeah.
And they really don't know your shit at all. Like they just doing that for the purpose of like smoke and mirrors.
If you don't have the attention of the building, like genuine attention, like people are really fucking with you and they're on board, it's a wrap. Like if they're just kind of, you know, whatever, it's a wrap, man. They were just trying to get me to do so much fucking phony, corny shit. And there was no real. Like Mike just kept trying to meld me into some fucking frat boy goofball fucking doofy shit, and it's never me.
Wow. So you were always a little ahead of your time. On the song Chemical, you talk about genetically modified food and how it was affecting people's health and bodies. It's very vivid the way that you paint it, saying, creep with me as I crawl through your bloodstream, dirty as the bathroom in the New York club scenes, a chemical river that flows through veins of drug fiends, obscene, unclean, love between teens. What gave you the idea to do a song like that?
Probably because I'm a fucking hypochondriac fucking lunatic, you know what I'm saying? That's probably what it was. You know, just, I don't know, man. Like, I would just come up with different things. I'd sit around all the time. That was like our era. Our era was like trying to come up with different ideas. And I was just thinking about all the different things that affect you in different ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just constantly, like, stress, good shit we're addicted to, things that are going to fuck us up. I don't think there was like one catalyst for that. I just think it was a bunch of, you know, fucking paranoia mixed with observation from me.
But were you like reading up on like how food was like sprayed with pesticides at the time, or how did you even know about that type of stuff?
Just conversations with people. Like I know people who, you know, were into just healthy shit. And then when you hang around certain crowds, certain conspiracy theorists or just people who are, you know, live a certain way, you end up hearing the reasons that they want to do certain things, why they want to have farms, why they want to, you know, eat from local farmers as opposed to, you know, or like a co-op or whatever it is.
Right.
Just hearing all that information and learning about that. Like I knew about like the barcodes early, like, you know, numbers that start with a 4 are all, you know, sprayed with pesticides. Numbers that start with a 9 are all organic before everything was super labeled. So, and I was never like one to adhere to all of that. I just did it when I could. And the older I got, the more important it was for me to eat a little bit better. And I still fuck up all the time. You know, it's just so cemented in our culture that we have all those shitty foods and all those terrible things. And then me growing up, I didn't grow up with any of that. We ate fucking everything horrible. We ate fast food and fucking government cheese and cheap ass shit. And I grew up eating Little Debbie's and fucking ramen and just anything. Especially when I got to be a teenager, I had to just get the cheapest shit. That's why I fucked with Little Debbie so hard. They were 25 cents a piece. I would sit there and buy a shitload of them, a whole bag full of them for, you know what I'm saying, and like practically live off that shit. You know, like white rice from the Chinese spot was like fucking 49 or 59 cents. You know, I just pour soy sauce all over that bitch. Right. Take mad fucking the sauces, you know what I'm saying, and do all that shit. And I was just broke as fuck, like just living like that. Eating horrible.
You know, a lot of people are just kind of like, especially back in the day, were just not informed, not educated in that way about nutrition, right? It's just, you just accounted like you're hungry, as long as you get to fill your belly, that's good. But you're not thinking about how is it, you know, nutritional to your body? How is it doing good for you, right?
Right.
Especially if you're living like in the projects or you know, where there's food deserts, all types of that shit.
Forget about it. And just, you know, everything, things that we really didn't know about. Because I think all of us kind of had an idea that they would spray shit with pesticides, you know, tomatoes and fucking apples and everything like that. But we didn't know about, you know, the bioengineering of like wheat and fucking all these things. Like corn. So many people have wheat allergies and so many people have peanut allergies and so many people have all these different things now and cancer rates and all these different things because they're trying to cut corners, make food more sustainable and last longer. And we're the what you call it? The fucking, oh my God, I'm having a brain fart right now. We are the collateral damage of the food industry.
But you know what's crazy though is like when you go to other countries, a lot of countries don't spray their shit the way that America does. So like people that, you know, might need to eat gluten-free, you know, when they go to like Europe, they can eat pasta and they're fine. They don't have the same reaction that they do in America.
I heard that.
Which is crazy.
I heard that. That is fucking crazy. That's sad.
So how do you think the song has evolved since you did that song 20 years ago now? It seems more relevant than ever.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't thought about it in a long time. I haven't even thought about that song. It's dope. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it because I haven't given that song any thought in a really long time. I should go back and listen to that whole album.
Yeah, man, for sure. All right, so you've seen my interview with Copyright. Yep. And you've seen my interview with High and Mighty.
Yeah.
And you even commented on the video of Copyright saying you never really had a real issue with Copy, but what was said in the interview was just incorrect.
Right.
I'm glad you've given me the opportunity to interview you and let you tell your side, which I think is the right thing to do because somewhere in between everyone's side is the truth. So let's start at the beginning. The whole issue starts because of Cage. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much, I think. So yeah, like I said, I don't have any beef with Copyright, and I don't have any beef with High and the Mighty guys. Like, I want to fight anybody. I'm 46. I got 2 kids. You know what I'm saying? I think I watched what they said too. You know, same thing with, you know, they know their age. They know the stage that we're at in life. there's not going to be any fightings. There's not going to be any of the immature shit. But when you're wrong, you're wrong. And there's a couple things. Copyright, I think Copyright had the misfortune back then of being down with just the wrong guys. You know what I'm saying? And I think Copyright kind of made an exit at some certain point. And then if Copyright was sitting right here next to me, first of all, I follow him on social media. I have no problem with him. I have no active problems with him. The times that I had problems with him were just when everybody was beefing. I just didn't want anybody shitting on my friends. But Copyright, I think Copyright will say this. Copyright had a lot of problems over the years. The reason why I kept my distance is he would fuck with drugs, real heavy. I think he got out of control with addiction, and God bless him, you know, that he's worked and put in the work to get out of that. And he fucked with fuck-ass people who, you know, did shitty things. And then I think that he's because of his addiction maybe, and I'm just speculating here from the things that I heard, and this is, once again, this is not my judgment. This is just me explaining why I didn't align with him. He was fucking over people and doing foul things, which was probably from his addiction or whatever. And that's why I distanced myself from him from a long time, even after all the dust had settled from our beef. But you know, I'm proud of him for you know, turning to God maybe, and I'm proud of him for wanting to get sober and change his life. That's fucking fantastic. I love hearing those things. I'm just saying, stating clearly out of my brain, no censor, no disrespect at all, the reasons why I didn't align with him for a long time. And I don't think anybody could fault me for that. And the other thing too, so with the Cage thing, like you said, let's start at the beginning. We were cool with everybody. We were never suckers for a second, but we wanted to be cool and collaborative with people. This was a time period where you were meeting artists and networking, and everybody was putting in work, and everybody was trying to collab with each other or do shit. Even if a collab didn't have to happen, everybody was just pretty cool, you know? We talked to everybody. We were down with everybody. And somehow something happened on some message board where I think somebody tried to say we dissed them, and which was bullshit, complete bullshit. We didn't. And I think Self went on a message board to clear it up, and Cage popped off, and I'm paraphrasing right now, but Cage was like, yeah, fuck y'all, or something, like, yeah, whatever. So Esoteric released this album, Herb, Your Herb, and dissed him, you know. And so that's when shit started. And that's when shit started to go south. So Esso's plan was to battle these guys, right? And Copyright had said, Esoterodactyl will get his beak broke. So all of a sudden it went physical. And like I said, bro, we're not bullies. We're not Cobra Kai guys. We're not assholes. We're not the villains. But
just for clarification, he said that on a song, or he said that on the message board?
I don't fucking remember, bro. I don't remember. I just know that was said for a long time. I'm sure that was said. Esoterodactyl's about to get his beak broke or some shit like that. And that's because that's what changed it for us. We're not guys who jump out the window like, oh, word, you don't like us, we're gonna fucking jump you at your show or fight you or anything like that. So there was a show, and it was a High and a Mighty. It was done by High Times magazine. Was throwing this show, and it was High and the Mighty, MF Doom, Cage, Copyright, Esoteric. This was the bill, okay? And we go there, and I guess
this
Self...
is SOBs, right?
SOBs, right. Self had gotten on the mic and talked shit and said, you know, blah, blah, blah. If you guys got a problem... I don't remember what the fuck he said. You know, he said some wild shit. I just don't remember what it was. And that was said on stage, and then we waited. And we were hoping somehow we I don't know what we thought in our hip hop brains, you know what I'm saying? But I think we were early 20s. I thought somehow we thought we were gonna battle these guys, right? Like on stage, like it was gonna be a battle. And that's what Esoteric had gone there for. We had gone there for support. We had a lot of people just who we were just friends with, who were around with us. And and like I said, man, some of these guys who either refute this or talk shit or denied it, these guys have very unreliable memories. I was very sober, and I remember a lot of this shit. A lot of it. Not everything. I don't remember every single little tiny detail, but I remember a lot of it. So time had come where Cage was walking up to the stage. Cage goes to
High
walk
and Mighty already on the stage at this time?
I don't think so. I never saw them once.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing those guys once. I don't know where the fuck they were. They were backstage or whatever. So Cage starts walking towards the stage. I don't even remember who he was with. He was with somebody. And we came up to him. No, we didn't come up to shit. He had to walk up to us because we were in the middle where the stage, where you got to go on stage. And Esoteric and 7L walked up, and we were all there. Self was right there. Everybody was there. 7L and Esoteric walk up, and Esoteric's like, yo, what's good, man? You know, you've been saying a lot of crazy shit. Let's battle. And Cage goes, who the fuck are you? And then 7L goes, who the fuck are we? And he reached up, grabs Cage's hat, spun it on his head, and that Self just came in, clocking him. Boom, 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 boom. Cage is falling back, and Self grabs his jacket, North Face vest. Goes to pull Cage up because Cage is trying to dead weight and fall back. Self pulls his jacket. Woof, fucking feathers everywhere. Cage got, bopped in the head sometime, a few times. Cage dead weights back. And our boy Karma, shout out to Karma too. Karma tried to grab him and pull him back up. Nobody was jumping him or nothing like that. Karma itself were trying to pull him back up so they could shoot a fair one. Bro, let's be real. If we were shitheads, we could have stomped the shit out of Cage. He was laying there. He dead weighted his body on the ground. We could have fucking stomped him out. We weren't getting down like that. Self was going to shoot a fair one with him. And Cage fell back and just laid down on the ground. At that point, our boy Guttermouth runs over, and Guttermouth is like, yo, we got to get out of here. We got to go. I don't know if it was security or what had happened, or the police were coming or some shit. But we run out the side door, and we're out there. We're kind of hanging out for a minute. Somebody said, I don't remember what this is. I just remember this being a thing for a long time. Somebody tried to say some stupid shit like Esoteric tried to hail a cab. Can you fucking imagine that, bro? Like, we're all out there. Esoteric's going to hail a cab? What are you even talking about? So people started just talking mad shit and saying really stupid shit, especially a lot of people who weren't even there. Out the side door comes Camuteo, and he was with my brother Poison Pen. And Pen wasn't there to do anything. Penn was there, I think, to make sure Camuteo didn't get jumped. And God rest the dead. I'm not going to speak anything ill. I'm not going to talk anymore about it, really, to be honest. Because Camuteo's dead. He's not here to defend himself or talk about his position. So all I'll say is that was just me recollecting Camuteo came out the side of the door. Nothing happened. Nothing happened to him. And Poison Pen was there. And shout out to Pen. I love my brother Pen.
Shout out Pen.
Yep. And, and then it kind of went away and we all left. We all took off. So a couple things. High and the Mighty, we never saw them. We heard Copyright had left at some point. Copyright didn't see any of that shit go down. But for Copyright to say it didn't happen is absolutely untrue. I don't remember. I think I watched a little bit of the interview he did. I don't remember exactly what he said about it, but he said, like, nobody got punched or some shit. Even Cage acknowledges he got punched. Like, for Mighty Milo Burger and Mr. Eon to say that that never happened or Cage didn't get punched. Even Cage acknowledges he got punched. It didn't destroy him. He didn't get beaten to the hospital. It was just a couple punches. It was a couple little altercation. It wasn't even a big fucking deal. The crazy thing is, this was not even a big deal to us. The internet and the fans made it a big deal, okay? And we didn't really sweat it like that. The corny shit is, I saw your podcast with High and the Mighty. Pardon me. I saw the thing with the High and the Mighty, and those guys, I don't know if their memory is terrible or if they're fronting. And for anybody to, it doesn't surprise me at all that they would have convenient memory loss because it doesn't favor them or their crew. It's a bad look for them in total, and especially what happened after that, right? So what happened after that? And I see a lot of funny things. A lot of funny things like Milo said, "Oh, we didn't know Apathy." I saw him say that in the interview, and that doesn't really matter. But it just shows that these guys don't remember shit in the first place. I was at Milo's crib. Like, I went there to work with Mighty Milo, and if he has a hard time remembering that, I'll remind him. Sean C. from the Vinyl Reanimators had me and Self go over to his crib because we were supposed to work on some record. And when we went over there to his spot on Lexington, he made some beats. He put a beat on CD. It wasn't for me. That's why it never happened. The beat wasn't for me, but Cage was in his living room smoking, and we were there. So we know who he was. And Milo also went on at some point to say some slick shit about me. So he might not remember, man. So what, 53-year-old Milo Berger is going to jump on your podcast and be like, "Oh, it's no big deal. I don't remember anything, man. I'm too big. I'm above all this stuff." And, you could say that, but I don't think it's the truth, to be honest. I think either they're kind of holding it down for their boy Cage, or they're trying to save face. Because another thing, too, is for Mr. Eon to act like he doesn't remember shit. Maybe I'll jog his memory, too. Maybe they were just really high in those days and they don't remember shit, which, I'll cut them some slack and maybe account for them. But Mr. Eon called our boy Andy Unknown, Mr. DJ Unknown. And he called him and had Unknown call Self on three-way right after the beef happened. And at first, these guys are like, "Yo, what's up with this beef? Is this going to spill over?" And they're like, "Well, I'm not really worried about it. It's not like they know where we're at." And Andy was like, "Oh, no, they've been to your place." Unknown was like, "They've been to your place." And they're like, they were more nervous. So they were, I don't know what they thought it would be. We weren't going to retaliate or roll up on them. We had no reason to be like that. But I'm just telling it historically how it went. So Unknown and Eon called Self on three-way and was like, "Yo, please, we want to dead this. We don't want any issues." Self was like, "Yeah, fine. Just have Cage apologize." And I remember Eon was sad and was like, "Fuck, man, Cage isn't going to apologize, bro. It's not going to happen." So he was nervous and he was worried about it, and these guys knew exactly what the fuck was going on. And all by the way, it's interesting that they deny now and they forget, because all they've done since this happened was deny. "No, that never happened. We have the video from High Times. It's going to come out soon. That'll show the truth." Okay. Waiting for the video. When's the video? We invite it. We'll pay High Times for the video. We'll pay. Let's see it. Show the video. Because if the video shows that nothing happened, we would love that. So all they've done from the beginning and all they've done from the jump is deny it and try to, negate things. Like I saw Milo Berger said on your interview, "Oh, I have no memory of calling people." Well, he called, because here's who called us. Ed Wong from Sandbox Automatic and Smiley, his mom. "Yo, Milo Berger's freaking out. Like, we got to take this record down. What the fuck? Did you not have permission? Blah, 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 blah." Pizzo from hiphopsite.com. "Yo, Milo Berger's freaking out. He's calling us." Fucking Ethan from Fat Beats. "Yo, Milo Berger's calling us." Boom, 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 boom. So Milo Berger seemed pretty fucking urgent the whole time. And by the way, like I said, I don't have any beef with this guy now. I'm just saying, if you're going to tell a story and you conveniently forget all these things, I'll just remind you of what happened, because I remember very well.
Okay, to give some context, what you're referring to with Milo saying he doesn't remember was the incident where I asked about Self bootlegging the diss tracks, right?
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
And then you in a previous video have stated that he was really upset about that and he was calling up places saying to take it down or something like that, right?
Absolutely. That's right. So that's what happened. And then it's also convenient that Milo and them were on the bill for the High Times joint where the first altercation happened. And he only remembers, what do you say, extreme violence of the extreme violence of the second one where Cage hit Self with a bottle, right? And if anybody doesn't know, what happened was LP was talking to Cage
Wait, before we get to that part though, can we talk? Okay, so how long before SOBs did you go to Milo's house? Like how much of a gap in between that time is it?
I think it was relatively close because I think it was within a year because I think it was like around 2000 or 2001 where we went to his house, but it was all around the same time frame. It wasn't long after. And it definitely felt, it wasn't cool. Like when we went there and, you know, we went up in there. We don't give a fuck. Who was in there? Cage was in there. Some other people in there. Self and I don't give a fuck.
But this was before Cage ever said anything.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
But he was already standoffish with you guys a little bit. Like he didn't.
I don't think he talked to us or acknowledged us at all. You know?
Okay.
So
also after the incident at SOBs, Cage did take to his forum and he went off and was basically saying that there was the footage of it that was going to come out and everything.
Where's that at? Was it fucking 25 years later? Where the fuck is that footage? We would have loved to see that footage because you would have saw what happened.
And I just want to reiterate that this is not about any current beef or anything. This is historical context that you are providing based on the details of a story that is very popular that hip hop fans have coveted and brought up numerous times. So you're helping give the full picture of what happened basically. Correct. From your account.
This is a historical event. And that's what I want to say too about what Milo said on your podcast. They tried to play it off like, oh, this is corny. Like we're 50. Why would we talk about this underground hip hop beef that happened fucking 25 years ago? Because it happened, because it's a historical thing and we all have fans. Like if somebody said to you, oh, here's a fucking video of KRS-One talking about him pushing PM Dawn off stage, you guys would be fucking jerking off to go watch it. But now that it belongs to the story belongs to you guys and your crew, which doesn't show you in the best light, all of a sudden it's corny, you don't think about it, you can't remember anything. I just think that's whack. I mean, I don't give a fuck. Like I said, this doesn't rent space in my mental like that. When people bring it up, I want to be very clear about what happened and what did not happen. But I'm not like running around fucking doing tours speaking about this shit. It was just a historical event. And that's pretty cool that there was a historical event tied to something that we were a part of when we were young men, super young men. But I don't have any active beefs. I don't give a fuck. Guys like Cage, I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at any of those dudes. I feel sad for him that he had to posture and pretend like there's this evil, psycho, straitjacket, fucking fucked up mental worms in my brain. I feel that somebody bad that had to posture like that and do that. I genuinely felt bad for him that's what the mask he had to put on.
So you're cognizant of the fact that this is a situation that happened in when people were very young, they made mistakes. Everybody did some wild shit, whatever. You're just saying that an unchecked lie becomes the truth. So you want to make sure that the narrative is correct.
Oh, 1,000%.
Okay.
1,000%. Cause that's one thing. I'm not going to sit there and be like, nah, I'm not going to say nothing, man. Like I'll just let people leave it up for interpretation. People can just tell the story, whatever the way they want to fucking tell it. I'm not doing that. I'm telling the history of it because if you sit there and you hear a lie where somebody's trying to make your friend sound corny or some shit, I'm not having that. Like, I'm not having you guys negate things or try to play us out. And it's just the other funny thing, too, is like, bro, this guy, not for nothing, I don't give a fuck who knows me or who doesn't. But to just be like, oh yeah, I kind of remember these guys and I don't really think about that. Like, look, it's posturing. It's corny. It's posturing. It's fucking, like the kids say, it's fucking cap. It's fucking bullshit. So.
Okay, so to go back to what you were initially saying, because I just wanted to make sure that we made that part clear, because, shout out to Copy and shout out to High and Mighty. I'm cool with all those guys, especially Copy. But you were just trying to clear up your side and make things clear, so.
Sure, absolutely.
But back to what you were saying about when Self gets hit with the bottle, that Milo's account of that situation.
Yeah, he just said it was like a violence, extreme violence or some shit like that. Like, look, Self doesn't deny, because I think they tried to deny that Cage got hit. Self doesn't deny that this dude sneak attacked him with a fucking bottle. It's not like
he spoke about it in a song, didn't he? What song was that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He talked Haterama or something like that. He said something about, he tried to say, you know, the punches didn't feel like anything. You know, good for him. The point is Self punched him a few times. He got punched. He got an old school fucking little whap fucking crack in his fucking face. And, good. It didn't put him in the hospital. Didn't fuck anybody up. Everybody survived. Everybody's good now. It's all good. But Cage. Cage ran up when Self was talking to LP and ran up and cracked him in the head with a bottle. And then he didn't hang out. He didn't square up. And I think that there was an account where somebody said security cruised in and broke it up. Like, he's not built like that. Let me just be real. And not everybody has to be built like that. It's not everybody's got to be a tough fucking fighter and crazy, but just don't posture like you are. You know what I'm saying? Like don't be that guy who fronts. But Cage isn't built like that. And I mean, even in the old school way, somebody squaring up and having a fucking fist fight. Cage isn't built like he is built like running up, hitting somebody with a bottle and running away though.
Were you there for that situation?
No, I wasn't there for that night. I wasn't there for that night. I just had everybody.
Who was with Self when that situation happened?
So a lot of people, I think Louis Logic was in the building. I think Poison Pen might have been in the building, but with Self was this crew, was my boy Flav, some members from this crew called the Browns Villains, who I think MOP knows or something like that. Don't give me, maybe that's not, I'm not sure, but I know some of the guys from the Browns Villains were there. There was a whole bunch of people. And Self.
But they were right next to him when he got hit?
No, Self against everyone's fucking thoughts. Self walked off to just talk to LP at the bar and squash it. And
got you. Okay, because I was about to ask you about the conversation with LP. Like, was it friendly or was it, I
think it was just going nowhere. And that happened. There was somebody I'm trying to remember who was really upset and didn't want to leave and wanted to cause a real big problem on behalf of Self. And I'm trying to remember who the fuck it was. Because once again, like I said, I wasn't there. I just heard all the aftermath. And I can't recall who that was, but it was getting a little crazy. Like, Big Scoob was there too with Self. Big Scoob from Scoob and Scrap from Johnny Famous. Scoob who danced with Kane and Scoob, Johnny Famous, that's his other name. Hip hop legend. Scoob was there too, and everybody was upset. Everybody was upset about him getting, and then security came and kicked Self out, and everybody was waiting outside, and shit was about to get really stupid. And I think Self decided that, this is stupid. Self once again, Self got cracked in the head with a bottle. He didn't have to go to the fucking hospital. He didn't have to get stitches. There was nothing like that. So,
what was your reaction when you found out that happened?
I was mad, man. I was really mad. I was mad I didn't go because I didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't think anything was going to happen, and I was doing something else. I don't remember what I was doing, but I was mad I didn't go. I was mad that at those guys. I definitely in my youth, I definitely wanted to continue to say, "Oh, word, that's what he wants to do." Well, and at some point we were just like, fuck this shit, bro. What's gonna happen? What are we gonna do? Fucking something crazy is gonna happen, It was definitely it definitely pissed me off. I wasn't worried at all, and like I said, here's the thing I said before. We didn't really consider this real beef. It was annoying, and they annoyed the shit out of us. They annoyed us. Self and I, over the years of dealing with people and traveling the world, we've had beefs that have been scary, where I pray and I'm thankful and grateful that I got out of a lot of situations that we were in. And there were serious problems that we've had in the past. This was not a serious problem. This was fucking corny. And it's just the history, because it was somebody notable on our level at that time, that it gets taken this crazy and this serious. But it's not a serious thing. It was never a serious thing. And I just think the way that those guys, everything that they did, most of them, was really fucking corny and posturing and clownish.
What were some of the other key pivotal moments within that beef? If there's any other events that you can name off,
I don't know, like
any other like meetups or confrontations, or
no,
just mainly diss tracks, right?
Just fucking diss tracks. And that's the thing too. I waited. See, some of the guys like injected themselves in the situation and just took it upon themselves to make diss records. And everybody agreed that was really corny of them to do that. I was waiting for somebody to say my name. I'm like, yo, the minute anybody says my fucking name, I'm going fucking thermonuclear war. But nobody said anything. And just nobody, I left it to SO and Self, and that was it. But those guys, I think Tame One tried to say something one time, and that was tough for me because Tame One's one of my favorite fucking rappers of all time. He's incredible. Sure. Tame One is phenomenal, man. He's one of the dopest guys. And I just think that he was riding for Cage. I don't think it was anything specific, but I think he threw a little shot at SO or somebody. I don't remember what the story was. I think Vast Air, I think A$AP Rock said something. But
you can kind of respect that, right? That if you're riding for your side because of the loyalty factor, at least, like you understand like why somebody would do that.
Sure, but I think the right thing to do is wait till somebody goes. It's like jumping into a fight that's not you see a one-on-one, you see two people fighting, you don't jump in. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if my boy's fighting somebody head up and they're squared up, I'm gonna go start punching the person too. I don't know. That's just always how I viewed it. And when we had the discussion too, I'm like, yo, should I say something? And be like, yo, you don't wait till somebody says your name. Wait till somebody brings you in this shit. It's like a tag. It's like a wrestling tag match. Tag me in, please. I'm fucking ready. I'm ready to fucking go.
So did you see what Copyright said about how like he wishes that he got along with a lot more people in those early days because there was a chance for a lot of people to collaborate and the fans missed out on some good music. Do you feel that way, that like it would have been better that no one had beef?
Oh, 1,000 fucking %. 1,000 fucking %. The fans missed out on epic shit, bro. Listen, Cage and them were fucking whack for the shit that they did. But those guys, everybody was elite. We were all elite with making hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like we fucked up everybody. Everybody at that time was trying to be the man, and not everybody could get along though too. Like, look, hip hop, the older generation, the guys before us, not all of them got along. But it could have been some good shit. Copyright was dope. Copyright still is dope. And I got love for Copyright because I just, like I said, I just think that he went through a lot of shit. He initially was with the wrong team, and I got love for him, man, and it's all good. It's at the end of the day, it's all love. But I agree with him. I agree that we could have done some shit at some point. Look at Ill Bill and Paz, and I've worked with Ill Bill, and I've worked with all these people. Look at Necro's collab with so many people we're down with. Everybody's dope, and it's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like all of us guys, underground guys, who have rocked with each other. There's always been dope outcomes from that. For
sure, man. Shout out to Copy and shout out to High and Mighty and everybody that was involved and stuff. It's definitely unfortunate that that the fans missed out on this. I know that like there's a part of the fan base that kind of gets excited about the fact that there was beef, and it's like, enticing to watch stuff about it. But at the same time, it's like, there's another side of it that that we missed out on some good music.
Right. That's absolute.
Is there anything else you want to clear up about the situation or you want to say?
No, that's my biggest point is just trying to negate that this wasn't a historical event is once again, it's like, KRS-One not talking about the PM Dawn shit. Like that's corny to them too. It's part of the history, man. It is what it is. It's not glorifying it. It's not making it cool. It's part of the history.
What about Copy going on your podcast?
Yeah, I'm down. If he wants to fly to fucking Connecticut, yeah, I'm down for that. Yeah, I'd hang out with him. We'll go fucking eat, go hang out, fucking all that shit, you know? But if he wants to fly to Connecticut, yeah, absolutely, let's go. You put him on the shortcast.
Bro, I think the fans would go crazy for that. I'm telling you, I think the fans would go crazy for that. You guys let us know down in the comments if you want to see that happen or not, man.
Right. And he'll get, you know, open arms welcome. All love. We'll roll out the red carpet from, and it's all love. You know what I'm saying? There's no, I don't have any ill will towards Copy at all.
For sure, man. What about High and Mighty?
I don't have any ill will for them. I just don't have any respect. You know, I think
can they come on the podcast?
Fuck that. They don't want to come on the podcast. They don't even know who the fuck I am, apparently. Fuck them. They look like fucking dorks anyway.
Don't do that, man. Come on.
I'm just being honest. I told you, out of my head. I look at them. Come on.
All right. I'm asking for too much. All right. That's my fault. I'm asking for too much. You already said yes to Copy. I shouldn't be saying more. Okay.
Right.
How did the connection with Mike Shinoda come about? Because you were on the We Major mixtape, right? And then you went on tour with him?
Right. Ryu and Styles of Beyond. Cheap Shot, Vin Scully, Talk. They were down with Mike since back in the day, since before Linkin Park was a thing. Mike patterned a lot of his rhyme style after Styles of Beyond. Like Mike's rhyme style comes from Styles of Beyond, the way those guys rapped. Like
that's what I was gonna say too. Is like, you know, his sound is like more mainstream because of Linkin Park, but if you look at his rhymes, he's underground, bro. Like the way that
Styles of Beyond. Let's make it real clear. And I'm cool with Mike. Mike's cool, but he's the clone of Ryu and Talk. He patterned his style after Ryu and Talk.
What was it like working with Mike?
Mike's cool. Mike's cool. Mike is just, I think Mike's been in Hollywood so long, it's hard to get raw, genuine shit from him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if Mike, bro, when I told you I keep it a buck and I'm 100%, I do. It's hard to get Mike to be brutally honest or raw and uncut. And it's dope though. It's fun. You have fun sometimes. You have fun doing cool things, you know. And Mike knows how to make hits, man. Mike knows how to make big records, but it's just it's different worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was really dope when Mike brought us on tour. But working with Mike in the studio, it's hard to kind of get anywhere. You know, and I think that he's looking for a different thing. We had fun when we did We Major, though, because I think that he was kind of, you know, going towards the realm more that we were in. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was more of our, and that's why he brought us on. It was clear that, you know, we were specializing in that, and that's why he was really down with Demigodz. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was rocking with us really heavy during that time period, and Mike helped out with a ton of shit, and we toured all over the place and had a fucking blast. But you know, working with Mike is just, you know, it's tough. Maybe it's because we're so far apart on what we do. Maybe he doesn't feel like, you know, I don't know. Maybe he thinks our shit is too underground.
Did you feel that way before, or was this like feelings like after that mixtape, like later on in life?
Yeah, just years of working with Mike, because there's a long span. It wasn't like one catalyst or one thing. It just got to the point where, you know, it just more difficult and more difficult. And then, you know, I think when Ryu and I and Self and I, when all of us have been down with each other for damn near 30 years, and we're all like brothers and we're bonded and being close, and we're committed to each other. You know what I'm saying? We're committed to being down with each other. You know what I'm saying? AOTP, bro, we fight like we're siblings, some of us. You know what I'm saying? We fight like we're blood related, but I'm always committed. You know, that's the thing. Like, I'm committed to these guys. We stay in the, we're a family. And with Mike, I just think it was a phase of his life where he thought our shit was slick and cool. But then, you know, he moves on to another album. There's no hide nor hair of anybody. And he puts whoever else is the flavor of the month on the shit. Because that's just what somebody does. And I can't fault him for that. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just saying it's not the same, you know? It's not the same as like crew and somebody who's close and tight.
I get you. So did some of those feelings come from seeing how the Styles of Beyond situation played out on the label?
Yeah, just everything. I think just that the Styles of Beyond situation. I don't think they really knew what to do with Styles of Beyond. And I don't think at that time, I came in, I got paid a gang of money to come in and work on that album and do a lot of shit. I did so much shit on that album. Vin Scully and Cheap Shot too. Everybody was all hands on deck. There's a lot of shit that I wrote and brought and contributed to, like and ideas and concepts. The fucking pirate song. A lot of these, we all worked together, man. Like I was there for the whole fucking thing. We were working out of this studio in Reseda, and that was the best time. Like me and Ryu. I used to live with Ryu. Ryu's one of my closest friends on earth. That's my brother, right? Like his kids are like my niece and nephew. His wife is like my sister. His mom is like my second mom, Maureen, Candy, the kids. Shout out to all of them. I love them, my family, right? Ryu and I were having a fucking blast when we were working on Styles of Beyond, Wanna Snuggle album, and Get Busy Committee all at the same time, right? That we were just having the most fucking fun, man. We were just living crazy, doing fun ass shit, running around, always inspired. And we were working with Scoop DeVille a lot at that point. It was just dope, man.
Was there ever any talks about you signing to Machine Shop, or you just wanted to stay away from majors in general at that time?
I don't think there was any talk of me. It wasn't my bag. And also I was just really paying attention. I was definitely gun shy after Atlantic, right? And I was just paying attention to what was going on with them and realizing it couldn't have been the same situation. And actually, I just like 2 days ago, I spoke to my man Dave, who worked at Machine Shop during that time period. And it's so funny because I literally just spoke to him, Dave Parker. Shout out Dave. And now Dave works at Empire up in the Bay, who's a big label. And Dave was great, though. There was so many people who were great at the label. I just didn't think it came together, And I don't think there was any cohesive idea, and Mike signed them to Machine Shop, but there was no, and I'm not saying it's anybody's fault. I'm just saying there was no curation to make their album similar to a Fort Minor or make it have any hits. It was just a really dope underground hip hop album. But I just, if they were going to do it on that label, maybe they should have had more. Maybe, Mike and somebody should have took and been like, yo, let's get a little more of a formula. Like we're trying to blast this shit the fuck off, When
I spoke to Ryu about it, he seemed, like forgiving of it. But
Sure.
I've seen also online that people said that Talk was the one that really took it a lot more personal against Mike. But he wasn't as close to Mike, I think.
Oh, I don't know. I can't attest to that. I didn't see anything like that. I genuinely don't know.
Got you. So if you would sum up what it was like working with Mike and your relationship with him overall, how would you sum that up?
I learned a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for the time it was. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like something casual in a good time period as opposed to like, a long standing relationship. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot. It was a fucking blast. I didn't align with that, all that kind of music, but it was a lot of fun. And there was a lot of just, wacky shit too. There was also just, I don't know, man. There's a lot to it, but it was cool. It was cool for the most part.
Wait, did you go on the tour internationally where G Unit was there?
Nah, we went to I didn't go on that one with the G Unit, the international. I didn't go on any international. I did Fort Minor tour, and I did the Project Rev with them, whatever year that was.
What was it like being on the road?
It was. I mean, the Project Rev tour. We had the most futuristic, fly ass tour bus. We had runners going and buying us everything anytime we ever needed anything. You know what I'm saying? I had a fucking smash time.
The racist bus driver.
That was the Fort Minor tour. Pete, the racist bus driver, was fucking crazy, bro. Crazy. Like he had a fucking like tumor on his ass. You guys got to watch my podcast to
that's what.
See that shit, right? If you want to hear the whole Pete story, but that shit was it was unbelievable. It was like beyond fucking comprehension that happened.
All right, can you clear up? Because when I interviewed Ryu, he seems to not really remember a lot, man. He does not remember how you guys really met. It might have been through he said that he just remembers picking up the phone. He was given the phone and it was you on the other line and he spoke to you. And I asked if it was because, Cheap Shot. Cheap Shot handed him the phone. And I asked him, did Cheap Shot become cool with you because of like AOL, chat rooms about like hip hop or something like that? He couldn't remember.
Listen, I barely remember too. That's how long we've been friends. I don't even know what fucking year that was. It was forever ago. And Self knew Cheap Shot. And then I had linked up with Cheap Shot. And I was a fan of theirs. I played their records on my radio show before I had any records out. Or maybe Jedi Mind Tricks had come out. But I played 2000 Fold on their radio show. And I didn't even know them yet. I was such a fan of 2000 Fold. I had the vinyl, the CD, and the tape, bro. I would play the vinyl on the fucking radio. I would play the CD, and I had the tape. I would rock all the time in my car. I had a shitty car at the time. And I was such a fan of them. So when I linked with them, it was dope to me. I loved them. They were really ill rappers to me and guys who make great songs. And then Ryu and I just clicked like a motherfucker. We were like the movie Best Friends, Step Brothers. That's what it is. We were just like, boom, you know what I'm saying? Just brothers right from the jump. And we would rock with each other every day. We never, almost never, ever argued or beefed with each other. And it was dope.
Which EP is it that he appeared on?
His first Demigodz appearance. We rocked with them first on Megadeth. And then it wasn't until Killmatic that Ryu was on a Demigodz song. And we had done stuff like Sound of the Clap. No, it's not Sound of the Clap. Clap. Just clap your hands and say
Demigodz Clap, right?
Right. Killmatic was the first appearance of Ryu and them on an actual Demigodz track, but we had been working before that. Got
you. Okay. So, it always appeared that Talk was more like extended family, but Ryu was like really working with you guys like within the fold more. And when I asked Ryu about this, he said that you, Self, and him just clicked more as friends while Talk was more on a rapping level. So that's why he like worked with you guys more. Would you say that? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I got along with Talk. Talk was cool, but Talk was just, he lived his own life. He did his own thing. We just happened to hang out, like we were just all tighter, that's just how it fell, like I love Cheap Shot. Cheap Shot's the fucking homie, but Cheap Shot didn't hang out as much as, me and Ryu did. I talked to Vin Scully all the time, but we, and now Vin Scully was around a lot too, but it was definitely Ryu and I hung out with we hung out more than anybody did,
With the situation with you in 2009, you, Ryu, and Scoop DeVille create the Get Busy Committee, right? You guys released the album, Uzi Does It. You guys did something amazing with the Uzi-shaped USB sticks. Now, the second album never comes out, Opening Ceremony. When I interviewed Ryu, he said that you were going through a lot of health issues at that time, and him and Scoop were still working on stuff with the intention of like Bun B held down UGK when Pimp C got locked up, but he felt that you took it like they abandoned you.
It was a complex thing. Like Ryu and I are totally good after that, right? But there was a time period where I felt shitty about it. And keep in mind, just for reference, like Ryu and I just got closer even after that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Ryu came through for my wedding. We talk and all this shit. But at that time, it wasn't even about I was dealing with severe panic disorder, anxiety, agoraphobia, because my father was dying of cancer at that time. And he was really bad. My father was dying of cancer. I had pancreatitis brewing in my body and I didn't even know it. So it was probably putting my system into fight or flight mode, right? And I was just felt crazy. I felt fucked up. So I couldn't even leave my house some days, okay? Like to go to the grocery store. The agoraphobia was fucking nuts. It was panic disorder and general anxiety, derealization, depersonalization, and agoraphobia all at once. There were days where I didn't want to off myself, but there were days where I just didn't want to wake up. I would have been happy if I didn't wake up at all. And that was the worst point of my life. And at that point, we were riding high from all the acceptance of Get Busy Committee. We got added to K-Rock, we got added a regular rotation on K-Rock, a huge rock station in LA. Snoop Dogg, Mike Shinoda, everybody was wanting us to pop off. In this second album, the stakes had gone higher. Our budgets had gone up. We had an incredible video that Two-Tone was about to shoot. Two-Tone from, at the time, it was True Love and False Idols, and then they turned to the very successful company Born and Raised. Two-Tone was like a part of our group, and Two-Tone is an incredible graph writer and fucking hilarious human being, and he just had a lot to do with our Get Busy Committee project and a lot of our visuals, you know, like the koala wearing the Raiders hat and shit, and the Uzi, all that shit came from his visuals and his ideas. And so everything ramped up at the time where shit hit the fan for me. And bro, like I said, I couldn't even go to the fucking store, the grocery store. Sometimes I had a hard time getting up and taking a shower in the morning because I just felt so fucking unreal and mentally tortured. And these guys, they got very frustrated with it because they hadn't experienced it, right? They got what I was going through, and they knew I was going through something, rather. I'm sorry. They knew I was going through something, but they didn't really understand it. And Ryu was like, yo, just get on a flight, bro. I'll fly you out here. I'll get you with the best doctors. And I'm like, I don't think you fucking understand. I'm not going to the store. Never mind go to a fucking airport and fly to LA. I will be done for. Like, and I went to go see a doctor, and a doctor prescribed me the wrong shit, which threw gasoline on the fire. Like,
Happens
I was
all the time.
I was on the wrong meds, and bro, I spun out. It felt like fucking, I just felt like, I talk about this in one of the songs. I felt like fucking Sid Barrett. Like, I felt like my cheese had slid off my cracker. And at this time, in the early 2010s, like 2010, 2009, there was not good mental health. There's not the greatest mental health help now. And at that point, there was very fucking little. And
not a lot of awareness around it. So to Ryu and Scoop's credit, you know,
sure,
it wasn't
I don't fault him.
heightened at that time. Yeah.
Ryu wasn't doing it to be mean. He just did not understand what I was going through and didn't understand how real it was. People, everybody was still on some like, yo, just don't stress it. You gotta fucking just face it head on. And I'm like, no. And it was definitely the darkest, worst point of my entire life. This moment right here. Go ahead.
So, like, for you, what do you think like triggered that situation? Like, was it like your old trauma as a child, or was it because of what you were going through with your dad at the time?
It was a perfect storm. And I think it was this, right? I think it was everything, because I've had panic attack that comes and goes in my life. And you know, I used to stress when it would hit me, but now I realize like it's a roller coaster. It comes and it goes, it comes and it goes. And now I just ride the wave. Like right now, I'm even right now at a bad point, but I'm highly functional now because I'm so knowledgeable about what this shit is. So even when I'm having a little mini panic attack, I just ride it out. Like it's like being in turbulence. You know, I know it's going to end in a little bit. So I just thug it out. I drive around, and sometimes I'm driving and I have a fucking shitty little panic attack and it fucks me up. But I ride it out and I thug it out and tough it out. And you know, at that time, like you said, Ryu and them, they didn't understand or know what the fuck. Oh, back to the perfect storm though thing. So it's from my childhood for sure. And then my dad dying of cancer and me seeing that happening. And also my dad was doing stuff like he had dementia because the cancer had moved to his brain, a tumor. So he would call me and harass me on some like, why aren't you helping me shit? And it would fuck with my head. He still, you know, was on his iPhone regularly and he's calling me throughout the day, just fucking with me because he's out of it, you know? Then he started to lose his language and his everything. And just so people know, I was close with my father. My father was my fucking guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were close. Like, I loved him. He's my best friend. He was my dad, you know? And I was so fucked up over that. And then I didn't know it, but like I said, I was at a very unhealthy level with my pancreatitis. And I was predisposed to high triglycerides anyway in your bloodstream. And I was eating really, really, really bad. And so my triglycerides were just going through the fucking roof. And I think that when my body was under attack, I didn't really understand it, but my body was under attack. And I think that pushed my brain more into fight or flight because your mind is like, something's wrong. We're getting fucked up. So all those things just pushed me to a level that I could not have maintained. Like, I was lucky that it passed. My father died. And when my father died, days after, my pancreas just fucking shit the bed. And that was terrifying because I just started throwing up violently, ripped like the muscles in my stomach and my back, throwing up. I had to be brought to the hospital to get hydrated, and everybody thought it was like nerves from my father dying, right? I didn't even get to go to his funeral. No closure, no funeral, no nothing like that. I'm in the hospital in critical condition for a week and a half. Critical condition. They were preparing my family that I might not make it. They were letting them know that there's a chance that I might not make it. My cousin, my fucking younger cousin, went and got a fucking apathy tattoo because he thought I was going to fucking die. And it was a really wild time. But when my dad died and then I got out of the hospital and I lost a fuck ton of weight, like my levels all dropped to zero. Like my bad levels, they got me turned around. You know what I'm saying? Like all the bad levels that were my cholesterol were crazy. Everything evened out and was low. When that happened, all this panic and anxiety and all these fucked up feelings that I had just being out in the world were fucking gone. I had never felt so good. I don't ever remember feeling that good. Like I walked out of the hospital like, oh my God, I was, driving on highways with no anxiety, going anywhere with no fucking anxiety. I felt amazing. So for me, when I think that when I was under attack and unhealthy, my anxiety was so high that when my levels got totally returned to normal, my anxiety went way down. That makes me think that living shitty and eating the wrong things and having these things go wrong with your body greatly add to panic and, feeling unsafe and feeling shitty.
Absolutely. Like, all of your health is connected, mental, emotional, everything, your actual
health,
physical
everything.
health. Yeah.
Right.
But so why not put out the album opening ceremony?
Because we had a falling out with Scoop. And I still to this day, I don't know if did Ryu talk about it? Because I don't.
No, he didn't talk about it.
Still to this day, I'm not 100% sure of what the falling out was about. And it just got sloppy, man. Like, Scoop was like our little brother. We were close. We were with Scoop every fucking day too. And then Scoop, I think Scoop had a falling out with his manager, Ryan Tohill, who was really close friends with Ryu and was a good friend of mine too. And Scoop and Ryan, his ex-manager, had a falling out, and they had problems with each other, and that's their personal problems. I'm not going to talk about their personal business, right? But then that spilled over into, I think Ryu was like, hey, listen, I can't stand by and have you guys beef either. I don't want to get in the middle of it, and I'm also not going to condone shit. So I think that caused a bigger rift too. And then there was a time period where, Scoop's dad, Kid Frost, who I grew up being a fan of, he got pissed. He thought I was trying to, because I was working on the Army of the Pharaohs album at the time. And I wrote some lyrics on Twitter that were literally from one of my Army of the Pharaohs verses. And Kid Frost thought it was me going at Scoop or making a threatening thing. And it's literally, I don't remember what bar it is. Maybe if I listen to that Pharaoh album, it was literally a fucking bar from the Pharaoh album. And because that's what I do. I just talk shit. So that created a bigger rift. And Kid Frost was upset. And Scoop was upset. And we had arguments on the phone. And there was also a time period where I was really trying hard to work with Scoop and work things out, and it just didn't work out. And we just fell farther and farther and farther apart. And then at one point, like when I became a Freemason, and then Ryu became a Freemason, I think it really bothered Scoop. Scoop like thought it was some crazy conspiracy theory shit, and it really bothered him. And then Scoop and Ryu got to be, civil and pretty cool again, but I guess it's just too far for me and Scoop. I don't know. I don't care. I wish him. He's one of the most talented human beings I've ever met. Scoop has a heart of gold, like for sure. It just, I don't know what fell apart, and it's all good, man. Because I'm over here in Connecticut dealing with my life. He's out in L.A. dealing with his life. But he's so fucking talented. It's unreal, man. The dude is fucking an anomaly.
You've squashed a lot of issues with people over the years. One you recently spoke about too. I forgot who it was, but it was at a show or something like that.
Louis Logic.
Yes, there you go. Louis Logic. Right. So is there no possibility that you and Scoop could eventually just have a conversation? And
I hope so. I'm hoping. I'm the one who's hoping for it. I've even reached out to a mutual friend that we have. And I'm like, yo, tell Scoop, what's up, man? I miss him. Because we were tight, man. We were together all the time. And I know we had a falling out. And it's not like we fought. We didn't physically fought. No one stole from each other. There was no crazy fallout. It's just, I don't know. And maybe he just doesn't give a fuck to repair that. I mean, he's busy. He's a busy guy. He's a popular young guy. And it's all good with me. I have no negativity. I wish him the best, man. I think he's a fucking dope fucking producer. And he's a sweet, real nice guy. It's just, if it gets repaired, I'll be happy as a pig in shit, bro. I'll be happy as fuck. I was happy as a pig in shit with Louis Logic and I repairing our friendship.
Because it just seems like it's more of like life happened and there was misunderstandings and maybe like not as much, compassion for people's situations. And it really didn't call to this level. You know what I'm saying? Where like you guys didn't talk for this long.
The other thing too is just like, who the fuck has the bandwidth to maintain every relationship they've ever had? Some stuff's just That's not true. Meant to be in your circle, in your cipher all the time. Like I got people who I love so much, but I just don't have time to constantly and consistently interact with them. And I wish I did. I wish I had more times. Because right now, even with the people who are in my life, there's times where my kids say heartbreaking shit to me. They're like, Daddy, please get off the phone. You're talking to people on the phone too much. And I'm like, fuck, they're right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm with my kids all the time. I'm super present with my kids, but there's times where I definitely do spend too much time on the phone, Right. So it's like, how much more do I add? Do I get back everybody? This goes back to like, we're talking about the verses. Like, how many people do I work with? What do I keep loading my plate with? How much boundaries should I set up? Like I say this, Scoop was a great time in my life. We did so much. I have so many fucking good memories with him. I have so much good music we made together. If for some reason we organically are down with each other again, I'll feel so blessed by God. And, but otherwise, if whatever happens, happens. It's God's will.
Ryu said opening ceremony is amazing. It would have took you guys to another level.
It's unfathomable how dope it is. Unfathomable. It's fire. It is absolute fucking fire. A lot of the songs got leaked. Like the song Boys and Girls was hilarious. We sampled fucking Kindergarten Cop. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. You know what I'm saying? But it's good. Like it's fucking fire. I Love LA. I think that got released. We had this song called Laura Ling. Just so much dope shit, man. We had so much fucking dope shit. I still got the whole album. I have the whole thing. We didn't finish the song, but we had a song I still got the verse. We got a Busta Rhymes verse. And yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were in the studio with Busta Rhymes. We were working with Busta. And
That's crazy.
Scoop was working with Busta. And we were in there for like 2 or 3 days. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 days. The singer MIA was in there. David Banner was in the same studio. It was dope.
Shit.
Yep.
Well, to bring it back to your dad, right? I know he was one of the biggest influences on you, him being super supportive in those early days, recording those college rap shows and everything. Without that man, we may not have you here today.
Correct.
Talking.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct. Yeah.
You paid homage to him in 2018 on Obi-Wan and in 2021 on the song Where the River Meets the Sea. I can tell when you talk about your dad, like how much that he meant to you. Just the things that you paid homage to him in those songs were just like so beautiful. You know, can you talk about what you learned from him as far as being a father and what you carry on for your kids today?
I think what I learned from my dad is just to try to be as good of a person as you can. And my father was the type, he would, if he saw somebody with a flat tire and it was pouring rain, he's pulling over. He's putting himself in danger to pull over and try to help somebody. If he has a friend, if my dad had a friend and my dad only had $500 left to his name and his friend needed to borrow $350, my dad would drive 100 miles to go bring it to that person, give them that money and help them like move furniture too. You know what I'm saying? Like my dad was that fucking guy. And, you know, he learned from his father, who, was a great human being too. My father never knew his biological father, his actual DNA father, but the man who raised him since he was a baby, and my dad didn't know that until he was 18 years old, was my grandfather, my Pepe, which is a French word. He was a fantastic, amazing guy, man. My Pepe was fucking dope and just was famous for helping people out and doing really good shit. And so my dad had that. My uncles had that. His brothers, you know, they were very close. If it wasn't for them, I would be a fucking horrible human being. Like if it wasn't for them, I would have had no moral compass. They instilled a lot of that in me. And my dad was, it was tough because I adopted a lot of his bad habits too, right? My dad had me when he was 18 years old. Even though he was loving and he was great, he was a hothead and he was emotionally dysregulated and he would react out of anger. He never beat my ass. He never fucked me up. But it was very intimidating. He was good at being intimidating. And I find that I do the same things by default to my kids sometimes. The difference is I apologize to them and I validate their feelings because I think they deserve that. I don't make my kids pussy or anything, but I also tell them, hey, the way I just yelled at you was not fair and it wasn't okay, you know? So I'll let them say they forgive me, but I don't let them say it's okay. And I think that I've told them too, they benefit from all the bullshit that me and my ex-wife have gone through. And I broke down, I took out a piece of paper and I drew on the piece of paper. I said, see this box? This represents your grandma, okay? And she had a really tough life the way she was raised, okay? This box right here represents Mimi, your grandma, okay? She had a tough life, but a little less than grandma, okay? I had a little bit less of a tough life than Mimi. Now here's your box. You guys have a much better life than I had or Mimi had or my grandma had. So I broke down for them, you know, that they definitely benefit from a lot of the bullshit that I went through. But my father, I'll tell you, I get feelings sometimes that I get really pissed off at him. That's one of the toughest things that I had to emotionally wrestle with, that I would get angry at my father because he didn't take better care of himself and he wasn't there for me and my kids. And there was a whole bunch of times where I get fucking furious when people would go, yeah, but he's always with you. He's always here. He's everywhere. Like, get fucked, man. I'm talking about, I need my dad sometimes. I need my dad to talk to. I need him here in the fucking 3 dimensions in real life. I don't want to hear about how he's floating in the fucking ether. And, you know, that's what Obi-Wan was about, you know? And that kind of thinking kind of pisses me off. it's true too. You know, he is me. Like I'm him. You know,
right? But nobody wants to hear that shit, really.
Not when it's like, yo, I miss my dad. I need him.
Right? Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, and like I said, it's a crazy emotion to wrestle with when you say, I'm pissed off that he didn't take better care. I'm pissed off that you're not here, that you didn't meet my kids ever. You know, that's a deep one to grapple with.
I feel like, you know, with him dying, you had to watch him die at such a deteriorating kind of way.
Yeah.
Right. And that was much more painful than losing him, you know, because like your image, your memory of him starts to change, right? Like, you know, when you think of your parent, usually you want to, they're your superhero, right? Like, you know,
right.
you remember them being strong and like,
Yep.
and everything. And it's hard to see them to be less than what they were. And for him, I'm sure it was hard for him to deal with being less than what he was before, especially as a man. You know, that's really tough for us to deal with, man. And just the way that you described that, you know, when you were dealing with your own health issues at the time and dealing with the music problems with Get Busy Committee, and then he would call you and he would say those certain things. Like, I just can't imagine what that was like for you in that time period.
Yeah, it was psychological torture, man. It really was. It really fucked with me. And you know, it's so funny that I got to go in a minute, by the way, because I got this other shit popping. But I'll say this: I used to tell him a lot way before his cancer diagnosis, or long before it, 10 years before it. I used to bust his balls about smoking, and I'd say, "Yo, you need to fucking stop smoking, man. You're gonna get cancer. You're gonna fucking die from this." And he'd be like, "Well, what do I want to do? Live for forever? So I'm an old person, you know, pissing and shitting myself and can't remember my name." And, you know, I'm to wither away. And that's what ended up happening to him anyway, just a lot fucking younger. You know what I'm saying? Like, he still lived through the idea that he hated just a lot. It's like the cancer didn't take him out fast. It took like 6-7 years. It was fucking humiliating. And it's just, there's no dignity in cancer. You know, it fucking whittles you away to nothing. And, God, I used to get mad at that too.
The treatments are terrible too.
Yeah, the treatments were gnarly. He hated it. He just felt like he was like in a meat factory, and he was, you know, getting pumped through all this shit, and they shuffle you in, shuffle you out, and it's just he couldn't stand it. The chemo, everything like that. It really fucked him up. And it was a really crazy time.
For sure, man. Well, rest in peace to your dad, bro. I just want to have one last question. If that's
Sure.
okay with you.
Yep.
Okay. You've shown support for Lord Jamar in the past. You said he was your brother and one of your idols. And shout out to Lord Jamar. I talk to him from time to time. That's my guy. A lot of people don't like him because of the controversial views, but I like that it initiates dialogue.
Right.
What do you think about the whole white people are guests in the house of hip hop conversation that he helped start?
I think it's bullshit. I think it's fucking crazy, and I don't agree with it. And anyone is welcome to think that it is true. And anyone, you know, people can say, yes, it is true. White people are guests in the house of hip hop. Hip hop is a black music. Yeah, I don't deny that. But as far as no one can convince me that I'm some fucking guest in hip hop, from everything that I've poured into this, and every molecule, and everything I've sacrificed, and everything I've done, and all the love that I've had, and everything that surrounds me, it's hip hop is all encompassing for me. No one's going to say I'm not a part of this culture, because culture is more than race or ethnicity. Culture is bigger than that. Culture is a group of people who get together and decide on something that they agree on and love and show, you know, reverence for. That's what I do with hip hop, and I contributed to it. So you mean to tell me that there's there's a young black man who's not nearly as versed in hip hop, or doesn't contribute shit, or very minimally, but he, by virtue of the color of his skin and how he was born, is more entitled to the hip hop culture than I am, and I'm a guest, and he's fuck that. I don't fucking agree with you. And there's nothing you can do to stop me from disagreeing with you. You can yell, you can be mad, you can make videos to cancel me, you can make me whatever. By the way, I want to say too, before I get too far, Jamar has never given me that energy. Jamar picks up we talk all the time. We talk about life. We're friends.
He shouted you out on Vlad.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jamar's my friend. We're friends. And the thing is, whether it's flat earth, do I agree? I don't fucking agree with Jamar with flat earth. There's things I don't agree with him about. But that's okay because we're friends. We're not pussy ass new people who you got to cancel somebody you disagree with. I don't agree
over
with
one thing. Right.
And bro, there was a time where I sent Jamar a song. God, I can hear the beat in my head. It was on Handshakes with Snakes. Rap is not pop. And I sent it to him when I laid the first verse. I didn't know he would do something, but he sent it back to me with a diss to another rapper, to somebody he was beefing with at the time.
Can you say who?
And I was like, no. I don't think he gives a fuck. Is Yellow Wolf. He was beefing with Yellow Wolf at the time. Now, I don't really have any opinion on Yellow Wolf, and I don't know what the fuck his deal is. I don't know anything about it. All I know is Jamar sent it to me, and I really appreciated that he took the initiative to want to jump on a record, but I was like, I'm not doing that, man. I'm not getting involved in a beef. It's going to be on my record. I'm not having my record be the catalyst for this beef, and now I'm looped into this shit that I don't even know everything about. No one can fault me for that. Jamar can't fault me for that. I'm not going to get involved in a beef I don't know the whole story about, or I don't know, what's going on. It
was really more Vlad's fault, if anything, because it was about the whole white people are guests in the House of Hip Hop. And when Vlad asked Yellow Wolf about it, he told Lord Jamar to shut the fuck up, basically. And then it created this whole back and forth thing.
Right. I get that. So I at the time, I didn't want anything to do with that. But I think the Vlad style of things is whack too. But hey, it worked for him and made him rich. You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I to fucking knock the hustle? But I just don't think it's cool. But so no, I don't think the guest in the House of Hip Hop, nobody's gonna tell me that. And let me tell you something too. Here's the thing. I don't give a fuck because Pharoah Monch is one of my closest friends. DJ Premier is a close friend of mine. Pete Rock is my friend. OC is my motherfucking brother. My heroes, who are the creators and the pioneers of hip hop, love me and accept me. And after that, who cares if there's some dude from fucking New York or upstate New York or Pennsylvania or California who says that I'm a guest in hip hop? Who the fuck are you to say that? Who the fuck are you to say that and set those rules and parameters when I don't even have to explain it. I don't validate it. And I don't give a fuck who says that because it's so preposterous. Hip hop I'm not a guest in the House of Hip Hop. I fucking am hip hop. I'm a living personification of everything that has been since the very beginning of this shit. And I have given it everything. I have given it fucking everything I have. So get fucked if you don't like that. I don't know what to tell you.
Have you had that conversation with Lord Jamar?
I don't think we ever. That's the thing, is that when him and I talk, I don't. It's like a tool. It's like a Vlad clip. I don't call him and go, "Hey, just so you know, I'm not." It would be ridiculous. It's like calling your friend, right. "Hey, what's up, brother? Hey, good. Hey, just so you know, I'm not a guest in the House of Hip Hop." What the fuck are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I never had that. I feel like I don't need to have that conversation with Jamar.
People really hate him because of his views, but I find him so entertaining. And I love watching him, even if I disagree, right? Even if I disagree, I understand. Like, I don't get offended. I'm like, that's your opinion. That's cool. It don't really upset me like that. You're not going to agree 100% with everybody on everything,
Imagine this. Imagine back in the day, WWF wrestling came out and no one talked. They just got in the ring and wrestled, and they just wrestled and did wrestling moves, and there was no after thing interview, and there was no characters and special uniforms. No one would give a fuck. It would be about as exciting as fucking roller derby, which I liked. I liked roller derby a lot. It was really dope to me. A good memory. But I'm just saying it wouldn't be as big as WWF is. WWF is crazy, controversial, fantastic. There's a lot of big characters. There's a lot of crazy people. Jamar knows what the fuck Jamar is doing, and Jamar is smart for what Jamar does.
You
That's
got to
my
give it to
opinion.
him. You got to give it to him. He created a totally new career off of his opinions. You know what I
Absolutely,
mean?
and I support him. I love him for that. Like I don't. I'm and through all the bullshit, through all the hate. I tell everybody, Lord Jamar is my friend. I don't give a fuck what you say. I don't care.
Well, he was during that time when he introduced the whole guesting. It had a lot to do with the whole Macklemore song "Same Love," because he was saying that like you're introducing something different to the culture that is not so basically what represents us. And he was saying that, you know, when you come into the house of hip hop, like you got to ask if you want to change something. Like you can't just, you know, start changing stuff.
Well, I have a similar theory to that. I just think that with all the new music, people have changed it so much. You know, I've said this 100 times, man. Pardon anybody who's heard this from me, because you're gonna hear it again. We start out with fucking with hip hop. Hip hop is fucking pure spring water. I was trying to find a bottle to illustrate. Hip hop is pure spring water, right? And you say, yeah, this is water. We can all agree that this is spring water, right? Sure. All right. Well, you know what? I want to do something else. Let's add a little bit of food coloring. Okay. Yeah. All right. Is it still water? Yeah, it's just red water now. Okay, cool. Yeah, we can still agree that it's red water. Yeah, but I want to add some sugar too. Oh, all right. Fuck. So we're changing it. Yeah, and I want to add some carbonation now too. So I want to add carbonation, food coloring, and sugar. It's not fucking water anymore. This is not water anymore. I don't give a fuck when anybody says, and we can agree on that. It started as water, and it was water for a long time, but now it's something else. So that's how I feel about hip hop. I don't know if that was Jamar's point about changing things, but I'm a pretty staunch hip hop snob, you know, as far as changing things and fucking with shit.
You've kept it pretty traditional and authentic. That's why I think that somebody like a Lord Jamar would respect you.
Right. I think so too, man. I really think so too. I think that's why Jamar shows me that love. I think that's why all these guys have showed me all that love, because I've known these guys for so long and I've been in the game for so long. And I never got fucking okey-doked. I never took the funny route. I never played with this shit. I never disrespected the culture, and I take it dead fucking serious. Dead serious, the culture. Unapologetically.
Right. All right, Apathy, man, I just want to thank you for your time, bro. Is there anything else you want to say to the fans before we go ahead and wrap it up?
That's it. Check out my podcast too. It's different energy than the Panda Chop, you know what I'm saying? But the Shorecast for sure, you know?
For sure, man.
Much love. I appreciate you, man. And shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to everybody showing love. God bless. Pete, please try to be cool to each other. I try to be cool to people. You know what I'm saying? So peace and love, man.